This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. We are joined by the lovely entourage of the Overbet Express, headed by one Espen. I'm going to butcher your last name. Jorstad?
Come on.
Oh,
Come
you
on.
sound like poker news now.
Wow,
Come on,
Jorstad.
man. We talked about There's no D in the middle. There's no D in the middle.
Okay.
And it's not Aspen. It's Espen.
Aspen
I said Espen.
Jorstad.
Whoa.
I know. That was
Okay.
actually, yeah.
No, he's just being extra.
I'm good at butchering things. Let me get at least half of it right.
Yeah.
And your better half, Mr. Henry Kilbane.
Oh, so you
Welcome,
get him
sir.
perfectly. Okay.
Yeah, well, he's English. Like
he doesn't have a full vowel in his name. You know, you have the O with the dash to it. If Henry had one of those, then maybe we'd have some problems.
Your last name feels very aggressive.
Yeah?
Yeah, like Jorstad. It's a very powerful Scandinavian name.
It is, yeah.
It is a strong name.
Not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Tice, you know.
Wow.
What do you
Tice is like
shocking
a
names?
Tice is like a Chad name.
Well, you always claim your Scandinavian heritage, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's from my dad's side. My grandfather's last name was Tice.
Mhm.
From the other side of the family, where the last name didn't get taken from, that last name is different. I really should know what that last name is.
You don't know what it is? You don't know your mom's
should know what that
maiden
last
name?
name is. I really should know what that
What a
last name is.
fantastic conclusion to that story.
I know. I'll have to
Oh, but
find
you
that.
probably,
in the
shouldn't,
show.
you probably shouldn't say your mom's maiden name on the pod.
No, because from my
yeah.
mom's side, my mom was adopted actually, and her last name was.
Oh, okay, we're gonna say
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well,
All right.
Also, just
Your identity
roll
is now
with it.
stolen.
Just
Mother's
roll with
maiden
it.
name?
what? You're
Social
being mean to me.
No,
Security?
just come up with like some Viking last name so that I could back off and be like, all right,
What was your first
man,
pet's
that's
name
my last name is Olaf.
in the
yeah.
street
There
that
you
you lived in?
My name is actually Landon Olaf.
The street you grew up on.
That's a
Social
female
Security.
name, so like,
Yeah, happens.
all right.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're a
Al.
very strong, young, strapping lady. All right,
Yeah,
so
but maybe when I didn't get the haircut.
yeah, you did get
The haircut looks
the haircut
good.
looks
It does.
great.
Your hair looks fresh, bro.
Yeah.
It does.
Looks like yours a little bit.
does kind of look like yours.
Well, that's the
Okay.
style.
That's the style. It's the hard
They're
part.
very tall men.
Overbet Express trendsetters over here. You know, we've got the meditating guru.
good
How much
hairstyle.
do you actually meditate,
Me or Espen?
Espen? You,
On and
I
off.
imagine, like you're constantly in a state of meditation.
No. We're pretty bad for it. Like, it's on and off.
Yeah, I've been like, I have periods where I meditate like every day for like a couple of months or whatever. And then I'm off it for like a couple of months, like totally. It's been on and off for like 6 years or something.
That's how.
Sounds
I
like a
am.
drug.
Do you actually, like, no bullshit? Do you actually think that it enhances to enough of a degree where it's worth putting all the time into?
I'm not sure, honestly, because I've been doing it for such a long time, and I don't know like how honestly, I don't think so. I've said this before. Like,
There goes
I
that
think,
Calm app endorsement.
God fucking damn.
6 figures.
Okay, yeah, no, it definitely helps.
There you go.
No, but I think like I have like some different practices like gratitude journaling and stuff like that, and I think that's been way more beneficial.
Yeah.
That feels like it has more like a direct impact. Meditation feels like something where if you grind it over like a really long time, probably helps. You know, like every top performer in whatever field you want to name, they have some sort of meditation practice. If it's like meditation in itself in various forms, or if it's like long walks without any input or whatever, like a lot of them have like some practice that relates to meditation, right? So it's hard to be bearish when there's so much evidence for it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I've like noticed like big changes in myself.
I
Because
mean,
of
I
it.
also
think-
just scientifically, like it's been studied from like a neuroplasticity standpoint and everything, that it's like
Go on.
it's like extremely helpful in like keeping your brain plastic and like increasing neuroplasticity. So in order to make changes in your life, I think that it can be a very conducive to make other useful changes.
So
in your
like
life.
directly, you may not notice the impact. Indirectly, it might be kind of what
yeah, a little
imparts
booster.
the impact.
Yeah.
What? So I think my follow-up to this is twofold. One, I think that the qualification of what meditation is probably very loose. You know, kind of you just mentioned everything from a rigid, I I don't know, let's call it like a silent retreat or something like that, all the way to like just a long walk where you're not taking any other inputs. Have you ever done like guided meditation or like hypnotherapy or anything like that?
Yeah, I tried everything basically, like different forms.
Yeah.
I don't know if I even want to call it meditation, but like stuff that is really helpful is just like sitting in silence, like not having any input. You don't
Yeah.
need to call it meditation. Like if you're focusing on breathing or if you're doing like some body scan or visualization or whatever it is, like just sitting in silence, not taking any input for like half an hour a day or whatever. I'm super bullish on that, just because we have so much input in our lives every day, all the time. And we don't really let the brain rest and just like process shit.
Yeah.
Just like sitting down and processing stuff, I think it's pretty good.
Is that
Yeah.
something you do in your room, like just by yourself, or like you can be outside, inside, doesn't matter?
I do it in my room,
Nice.
like just by myself.
Yeah.
So I've like yourself have probably done all of this. I worked pretty closely with Elliot Rowe for 2.5 years. Tons of guided meditation, tons of hypnotherapy. I've done everything from, you know, the apps using guided meditation to just like sitting in silence, to like silent walks, the journaling, everything. And the only things that I've noticed that have long-term impact on me that A, I want to continue to repeat the process of, and B, I just like have a noticeable mental clarity and physical sort of like uplifting after the fact, is when I can isolate a single stressor. So like breath work within yoga, I noticed was incredibly impactful. Like allowed my mind to like stop racing so much because I was so focused on the poses themselves and the breathing. So that single point of stress like kind of allowed me to reach clarity. Things like sauna and cold plunges, same thing. You're heavily focused on your breath work and the exact stressor of what's taking place. Those allow me to reach a level of clarity. Guided meditation is either going to be a nap for me or increased anxiety. Because I'll say this, like I've done hypnotherapy with Elliot. He's the best that I've ever worked with. I've done it with other people as well. And every single time I do it, a wash of anxiety comes over me because at some point he's going to ask me a question and I feel stupid trying to fake being under and answering it. Right? Like,
Shit.
and the whole thing is you're not actually supposed to go under. You're supposed to be like semi-conscious, like lucid almost.
Yeah.
But like I'm hyper aware that my eyes are closed. This guy's trying to get me to like reach this deep sense of Zen and I'm not there. And then he's like, tell me how it feels to be walking in through the aria. And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm sitting on my bed right now, like trying to get to a lucid state of dreaming. And I'm not there. We're not there, man.
I think there's a difference though between like hypnotherapy and guided meditation. Like I would think guided meditation
done
is more
both.
like where like
Guided
I
meditation,
agree-
you don't respond.
Right. So I agree with you with the hypnotherapy where you do feel that anxiety to respond in the correct manner or whatever. But like I think I've done like the Calm app, and shout out if you want to sponsor us, but
Not a big deal or anything.
That is the worst pitch ever. man. Shout out to those guys.
no, but seriously, I think
Seriously, please save the house.
No, it does. I guess I don't like kind of like it teaches you how to meditate, how to do a body scan, how to bring your, mind back to concentrating on your breathing and that kind of thing.
That stuff has no positive impact for me at all.
You've struggled with floating tanks as well, though, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
When I can't find that single point of stress to distract myself, I just don't get
need to,
distracted at
like-
all, and the exact opposite effect happens. I build anxiety because my mind's racing all over
Well,
the place.
you need meditation, but with like a element of pain or something, like someone sticking
I
a
don't-
huge needle into you, or
Or
like
they
you
give
know.
you a cookie, right? They give you something that
No.
you don't like.
What?
And then that's
Well,
your
because
point
then you
of
can,
stress.
then you can focus on it.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Pain is a weird one for me. I have a ridiculously high pain tolerance.
Every man says
Yeah,
that.
every guy.
No,
says
no, no.
that.
Like,
Every man says that.
I'm sure that that's true, but
Have you ever
like,
had your legs waxed?
no. Should I?
That should be a prop bet between
No,
us
you know
guys.
what?
See.
You know
I'll
what
have
we
my legs
should do.
waxed.
I was watching this
I've used to wax my chest when I was a
last
kid.
night. They have this period cramp simulator,
Or like a
and
birth-
they'll
yeah.
put it on a couple. Like they'll put it on a man and a woman next to each other, and they'll turn them up at the same time.
Yeah.
To like see their
I'm not trying to
reactions
say.
side by side.
to be fair, I'm not trying to say my tolerance is higher than like a woman's. Or I'm just saying it's higher than average. So
What's average?
I don't know. People are generally pain intolerant.
That sounds like a good bet, to be fair.
I'm in. Like anything pain related. Like I don't
Yeah.
enjoy pain by any
Yeah.
stretch,
Sounds
but
like
I
you
know
do.
that it's dull to me.
I enjoy it.
Okay, that's not here to yuck your yum.
It should be you versus Melissa in a pain test.
Has anybody had
I'm
their
in.
appendix out in this room?
Guapo has.
Just
that's
Guapo?
about it.
I was talking to Espen about this. He's like, "What is that? Like, that's just not a thing in Norway."
What's an
I'm like,
appendix?
I have like one friend who did that. You made it sound like every
I
American
thought it
has
was
done
like
this.
really common.
No, it's rare, but it does
It's
happen.
rare.
It's
Yeah,
rare.
It's pretty
For
rare.
your
Appendicitis?
appendix to burst.
Oh,
No,
well,
no,
I mean,
not to burst, just to have appendicitis and need
what,
an
I
appendectomy.
don't know.
lot to kids
Well, what
in
are
my
we
school.
considering rare? Like 1%? Is that rare?
That would be rare.
So
Yeah.
I would think it would be.
One in
Around
100.
1%.
That's kind of
Oh, I
not
would have
that
thought it
rare.
was
I
like
thought it was more.
Think of
I would've thought
all
it
the
was like
people you know, and
10
then
to
like
25.
I don't know.
25%. You're saying 1 in 4 people have their
25%.
appendix removed?
Guapo,
No
find
way.
it for us.
I don't know
So many
anybody.
people-
who-
there are a lot of
I would
kids in
think
my
it would be
school.
between like 1 and 5%, maybe.
What do you think? What about like getting your tonsils out?
5%.
Wow, 1 in
5%.
20.
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, 5% of people have appendectomies.
5%?
I mean,
That's
I'm
not
sure,
rare.
I'm sure if we wait like 10 seconds now, some chat pro is going to give us the answer anyways. Just
Yeah.
read the chat, right?
No, Guapo just pulled it up.
We have a professional
Our own
pro.
shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Professional research pro.
No, just
1 in
next time you're at a
20.
poker table, make everyone stand up and pull up their shirts
Yeah.
and just do a head count.
Yeah,
that-
If you
I
look
can't-
right
You
there.
can't even see the scar. They go through your belly button. It's
What?
literally invisible.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1 in 20 is higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit lower than I would have thought, but I
Yeah.
would have considered it a common practice surgery. Like same thing with like tonsillectomies.
Tonsils.
I would
They
assume
do
that that's pretty
tonsils
common.
less now than they used to, though. I think.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
It's like tonsillitis stuff. Or they think
Tonsillectomy, they just take it out because you constantly get. Anyway, the whole reason I asked is because I was hoping somebody else had experienced it. It's
Friends.
very painful
Yeah.
to go through, but to give you an idea of tolerance, my appendicitis started at noon the day that I ended up getting it removed. I didn't go to the hospital till 3 a.m. And
sick flex,
no, it's not a flex. I'm telling you that my pain tolerance is too high. Like it's just a bad thing. It's not a good thing to have a high
Sick
pain
flex.
tolerance.
You make it seem like it is.
Yeah.
No, I don't. You're making it seem like
One
it
time
is.
he was just resting his hand on the burner, and it's just for like,
Yeah.
he's
for
like,
10
what's that
hours."
smell?
His appendix is rotting. His skin's falling off. He's like, it's fine.
You know, there's a disease like that where people like lose their nerve
No,
endings.
right, yeah, there is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But anyway, the whole reason, circling back, that I said that is because like pain doesn't create that like.
It doesn't do it for you.
Endorphins.
It's the opposite. Like I distract myself from pain. So like if you were to make me meditate and put me through pain, I would lean heavily into the distraction of meditation, which is already making my mind wander all over the place. So it would probably
You
just
wouldn't
increase.
just breathe through it.
What do you mean?
You wouldn't breathe. Like you would like be forced to meditate if you're in enough pain.
All through the pain.
I don't feel like I use breath work when I'm in pain.
Really?
I use breath work when I'm in poker pain.
I thought that's how meditation worked, though. Like at the start, it's very difficult, and it's
It
hard
is,
to kind
yeah.
of keep your
It's a
mind in
muscle.
one
Right.
place.
That's why it's always come back to the breath, right? So your mind wanders. It wants to wander, and then you just once you realize that your mind is wandering, you just like acknowledge it, accept it, and then go back to the breath.
Maybe
Yeah,
you're
exactly,
not trying
yeah.
hard
Right.
enough.
You're not
Yeah.
accepting of your
That's
inner
what it
thoughts
is.
and inner chaos.
You know what? That's
you have
what
no
it is.
acceptance of yourself and your
I
inner
didn't try
self.
hard enough.
Well,
You
no,
don't
you
love
tried
yourself.
too hard.
You don't. We just
Maybe
keep going
that's
a
what
little
it
bit
is.
up more until we find it. Like you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have the ability to be by yourself
Be
in your own
accepting
thoughts.
of the fact that you're not a perfect meditator.
Yeah.
Right.
We're all
Yeah.
not perfect, Matt. We're
Hey.
all perfectly imperfect.
Maybe
Right.
that's it. So did it come in handy when you were in the tank for 18 and a half minutes?
Honestly, I think it did. It's gonna sound like
Yeah, of
bullshit, but I
course.
think it did. Because I've been doing this for the last few
Heads
months,
up with
this
for Jorstad.
meditation practice called Yoga Nidra.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know Huberman, Andrew Huberman?
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah. I love
He's like
Huberman.
some giga brain neuroscientist from Stanford or whatever. And he's super bullish on this Yoga Nidra as like a, what does he call it? NSDR, non-sleep deep rest practice. So like it's gonna bring you into like a super relaxed state. And the practice is basically like a mix of, there is some breath work, but the main part of it is doing visualization, basically focusing on, it's like a body scan thing. Like you're focusing on like one body part, like your right knee, your right shin, your right ankle, blah, 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 and you move through the body.
Really? So you start from like one leg
Those are
and then
my
go up,
favorite
or you
ones.
start? Doesn't
You can
matter.
start
Yeah.
wherever you want.
Got it.
Start wherever you want, and then like do like a tour.
Yeah,
A grand tour of your
Hey,
body.
you-
Yeah, so I do like start at like the top of my head and then go all the way
Yeah,
to
yeah,
my
yeah.
toes and then back
No,
up.
for you, it's the top of your head and then your shell.
Into my shell.
Yeah, you go to you
My
feel the
turtle
shell.
To your tail, and then to
Right,
each
yep.
of your.
Do you think it would have been equally as helpful if you were bluffing?
A lot of people ask me this. I would like to think so, but like
Sure.
it's hard to say, right? I had like one spot where I bluffed all in like the Jack 7 hand, but he didn't tank very long because I had 2 pairs. I was like, okay, call.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to test that
Right,
theory.
you didn't get the try
unfortunately.
out. He called you too fast.
Wow,
Yeah.
how good of a 10-day run was this that like you never were in the tank where you just didn't have it?
Yeah. Honestly, that's pretty much. Oh, actually, that's not true. I had like one big bluff when we were 2 tables left versus Mickey. Where
yeah.
like it was a BVB hand where I think we're like 12 or 13 people left or something.
Yeah.
This was after I won the aces versus ace king hand versus Tom Kunze. So I had
Momentum
all the
is
chips at this
high.
point. I had like 85 million or whatever, which was chip lead at this point. I limped the small blind with Jack 7 off. He checks. Flop was like, what was it? Like 9.
You had like a gut shot, right? It's
No, it was like 8-5-3, I think, or something like that. So I don't flop anything. It goes check, check. Turn is. Fuck, this is such a butchered hand history because my brain is so
Is
fried.
it a 10?
Like a
and I haven't.
9.
Anyways, like I turn like the perfect bluff card basically, where I block the both ends of the straight.
Yeah.
So it's check, check, flop. I go for like 2x pot on the turn. He calls. The turn was a 10. So the flop had to have been because I blocked Queen Jack and I blocked 7-6. It had to be like
10-8-6?
10 turn. 8-6
probably.
something.
Anyways, I block both straights. I go
Yeah.
2x pot turn. He calls.
winner of the main event, boys and girls.
River was like some complete blank. I go all in for 3x pot or whatever.
Oh, Beirut's saying it was Queen 7 on a 9-8-3 10 deuce board. Espen's memory about hands is
Queen 7 on 9-8.
9-8-3 10
9-8-3,
deuce
10.
board.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
you
exactly.
block
There we go.
7,
There we
6,
go.
and
We got
Queen
there.
Jack.
Fucking
Yeah.
chat pros correcting me.
Yeah.
How dare they? This is our main event champion.
They
God
know who
damn
that
it.
is.
and apparently Mickey folded King 10.
He had King 10, which I think like would have been a ridiculous call, to be honest. I would have been fuming if he called that. Because like when you face 2x pot on the turn and 3x pot on river in high ICM, you don't call top pair for all the chips.
Right.
You need like at least like Jack 10 is like infinitely better, Queen 10, even like Queen 8 or some shit where at least you block the
10-7.
straight in a pair.
Yeah.
Because like when you go for these sizings, like I'm not doing this with bottom 2 pair or some shit, right?
Right.
I have like a straight or like a set or something. So I think it would be kind of, yeah, I would be fuming. But he was in the tank for like a long time. And I was sitting there and yeah, I don't know how well I handled
We're going to have to review that
It
footage.
was not on a featured table. I don't know if
It was- it
I
wasn't
don't think
the
they
feature.
featured this table.
No, they
didn't
didn't.
film it.
feature you.
But it was hilarious because they cut to you afterwards and you just hear Mickey saying, if I had Queen 10 there, I'm going to fucking snap you off. Like,
He
went
was
on the
so
next
close
time.
to calling King 10.
Yeah.
He just didn't believe you.
Yeah, he was right. Maybe I
Yeah.
gave up something. Maybe my neck was pulsing. I don't know.
Maybe.
Do you-
Should have done
maybe
yoga nidra.
maybe we need to get back in the meditation lab.
Maybe.
What I think, instead of meditating, this is what I like to do. I like to balance for the way that I'll react when I'm bluffing by doing that whenever I know that I'm calm. And if I had 18 and a half minutes, I would have done everything
He's going to be sitting there twitching.
I would have done everything physically imaginable to work a call out of this fucking guy.
Were you
I
trying to
would've-
talk to him?
I would have, my eyes would have been darting. I would have like given him a quick glance, catch his eye, look away. I would have given him like a shoulder shrug, like
Every
spill
fake
some
tell you can
chips.
think of, yeah.
Yeah, any fake tell I can think of. I would have looked like Scott Seaver out there, like just trying to work
Would you
it.
try to talk to him?
No, I always think that conveys strength.
Yeah.
Because then you're too comfortable.
That's why I do it when I'm bluffing.
Sure.
Every time he makes eye contact with you, just like cocktails.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure if I think talking conveys strength. It just conveys something, and I
Yeah.
think it's difficult to
I
strike
mean,
a
I
balance
know
with it.
for me, Usually when someone's comfortable enough to talk, I lean towards thinking they more likely have it. Unless
if I'm being completely
I know
honest,
that they're
when
very comfortable at
recreationals
the
talk,
table.
I snap them off, and when pros talk, I immediately fold.
Really?
Yeah, because like pros are thinking about how to talk, and recreationals are doing it out of fear. Like they're afraid that you're gonna
But
call.
I think if you talk to a recreational, they will fold. Because
Yeah.
they're thinking if,
Yeah,
if that
I
was me,
understand.
I
Yeah.
would not feel comfortable
I see
to
what you're
talk.
saying.
Sounds like a
about
lot of
it.
mind games going on.
You have
yeah,
to, you know,
that's
you have to-
live poker.
So many levels to this game now, right? It's 2022.
I mean, who's gonna waste their time studying math when you could just like look a guy in the face and say, "Sorry, bro, you don't got it this
You
time."
don't got it. I got
don't
King
have
10.
it.
I call.
Honestly, though,
You think I would
you're
have folded
kidding.
King 10?
I know you're kidding, but when I came to the World Series and started grinding this, I honestly felt, why the fuck have I been studying for the last few years? That makes no sense.
I'm not kidding. I built a whole company around this, and everybody flamed me to the point where I had to start putting out real material.
And now they're going back to flaming you. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is not how poker
Of course,
works.
like if you show up to the World Series and you look at 90% of the field, it's just like, what do I care about how blind versus blind plays? This guy is dumb.
Whoa,
He's
whoa,
just-
whoa, whoa.
But he folded kings like day one.
Oh
on,
yeah,
like,
that was
That was
egregious.
the most ridiculous
yeah,
thing
that
ever.
was hilarious.
Yeah,
And it's just
and-
classic WSOP. Like you don't know how to react to this shit.
Yeah.
He was such a nit, though. He was so tight. And then I don't even want to talk. Forget about that, huh?
we all get value bluffed, you know?
Yeah,
The value bluff.
yeah, it was.
That's the beauty of that hand. So for anybody who doesn't know, Espen led like 7 ways on a queen high board, got raised.
Yeah, that's
He had 2 kings, calls. Turn is like the
No.
best card in the
Oh,
deck.
yeah, I got raised. Yeah,
It's like
and then I
Queen
called.
7-6, right?
It was like queen 7-4, queen 8-4.
Yeah, Queen 7-4.
Turn is a 4, which is like the best card in the deck for his hand after
yeah.
getting raised. He checks and the guy bombs, and he's just like, well, main event, respect my tournament life. These guys are the nut low. I'm going to win it anyway. It doesn't really matter what I do. So you know what, buddy? I'm going to sail these kings into the muck because I'm a goddamn professional. Here you go, fold. And the guy just windmills queen jack over in a proud manner of like, of course I had top pair. Nice fold, young man.
Yeah, he was protecting against Ace King, I guess. I don't know.
He didn't want you to hit that ace.
Yeah.
He's not protecting against
Doesn't-
anything. He had top pair.
It's the ace. He's protecting against the ace.
Yeah, have you ever seen the card that comes with the deck that lists the hand rankings? Top pair is very high up. It beats
It's hard to make top pair.
it beats no pair.
Yeah.
It beats
Middle
worst
pair?
worst one pairs
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
That's
Doesn't
not,
beat
that's
kings,
not
though.
on the list, man.
Doesn't
that's not on the
beat
hand
kings.
ranking. You
Doesn't.
clearly have not seen the hand ranking list.
What-
It's, nope, it's high card, 1 pair, 2 pair. They don't tell you how good top pair is.
That's fair.
They don't tell you how good it is.
Wow, you're
we
right.
can extrapolate a little bit.
No, we can't. We're going off of the hand rankings chart.
Well,
Butterfly effect though. If he doesn't fold kings, he doesn't win.
I
the
was
main,
thinking,
so-
I literally
Sure.
was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Like that,
So it's like-
everything's different, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Well-
what
well
happens
done
if
he
you,
for
wins it in
being
9
a
days,
fucking bad
probably.
at
I don't
poker.
know.
what happens if you just bag 150K? Send that poor sap
No, but
packing.
I'm too cocky for day 2 then, you know?
Yeah.
Now I came in humble and relaxed. You know?
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
no pressure.
I
Like-
could have max late registered and have 3 times the stack I have now. But here's where I'm at with 19K. And
I was at a barbecue like before day 2 and everyone was talking about how much they bagged and I was like, yeah, I bagged like 18K. It's gonna be, yeah. And everyone was like, yeah, you know, everything can happen. You can spin it up. It's fine.
Yeah,
can.
You did indeed.
See,
spin it up.
thank God for good friends. You know,
Yeah.
they're just there to support you.
Yeah. I was gonna just leave my stack, you know, and fly home to
Just
Norway.
abandon it. Yeah.
you were just going to go home. Yeah, you were done. You can't win the main. I mean,
This was your first main event?
Yeah.
So I guess jokes
First World
aside.
Series. First World Series.
First World
2
Series.
bracelets in his first
Wow.
World
What a
Series.
fucking joke.
Wow. Where's Dan O'Brien?
Including the main.
Yeah,
Where's Dan O'Brien?
Yeah, like I just
Wrong
showed up
full
and I was
time.
like, why did I do all this studying?
It's hilarious because we were thinking of flying out last year, so it was like November, right?
yeah. Well,
And
October,
instead,
but yeah.
we went to Thailand, but we were all like debating, like none of us had grinded a World Series, but we were still on the fence, you know, traveling from Europe to America, booking houses. There's like a lot of COVID stuff, and they were like, oh fuck it, let's just go Thailand. So we went Thailand for a few months instead of going to the WSOP.
Well-
and now he just comes, wins 2 bracelets at the main event.
The rest of us appreciate it for giving us a chance.
I couldn't win for the Council of Dan, so I had to bring in my substitute from Norway.
That's right.
Oh, this was your
Espen,
doing.
For
That's
double
nice
bracelet.
of you to let
Yeah.
double
him
bracelet bangs.
That was very good of him.
bracelet, yeah. Well, bracelet and a half.
Jokes aside, what was it like to basically come into day 2 with a nub? Because I've been in that spot before, and I also spun it, but I remember what my mentality was, and it was not like, I'm going to cling to these chips and play well.
No, but I mean, like, you come in today, too, with 18K, and I had, like, 33 bigs or something. Like, it was okay, you know? Like, it's not like a lifeline. I mean, it's not like you're ready to bust.
Right.
Yeah.
You still have some maneuverability, and, like, most, like, for day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and stuff, like, all your tables are going to be amazing, right? Usually.
You're just a fucking robot. Like, there was no part of you that was emotionally invested to bagging a big stack. Like, you're just like, this is what they gave me. I have 33
Honestly, like
blinds.
from the streams that we've done, it's one of the things he gets the most love for in Twitch. Is like, there have been so many times, right, where he's like 1 of 11 with like big 5 figures or low 6 figures up top, and then he'll just like FT bubble, or he'll come like 8th or 9th. And he's like, that's just poker.
Yeah.
And I literally will like continue. He'll continue grinding like 60 left of some bowl 215 on ACR. Right?
Internally,
Like,
how are you feeling?
No, but like he actually embodies that shit, and like everyone in chat's just like, how are you not upset? He's just like, well, like I was super lucky to get here, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, fair.
Yeah.
That's
it re-
such a
it re-
great mindset.
it really is a great mindset.
It is, because like he
Yeah,
just
of
literally
course.
like the next day he'll wake up, continue grinding, and he's already let go of that outcome, and that just allows him to just crush
New
the
day.
next day.
Some people hold on to that for weeks and they'll
Dude,
lose for
I
weeks.
fucking-
Yeah, no, they
I
will.
still call one of the guys at the win like a shit wreck from like 4 years ago because like he beat me in a 2K pot.
Yeah.
You're not the only one that does that, Henry. You're not alone. You're not alone.
I learned that mentality very young as a baseball player, particularly as a relief pitcher. You know, when you come out and the game's on the line and you're expected to throw a handful of pitches, sometimes you fail. You're expected to get up and do it again the next day, right? So it's like that was ingrained in me at a very young age. However, when I do that on a stream and come in 1 and 11 and final table bubble, I only see 150 people in my chat telling me how much I stink and how I'm never going to win a fucking tournament. And they're not wrong.
No, they're right. Yeah.
They're 100% on par. And I just got to nod along and be like, yeah, I'm a cash game player. Like, that's what, you know, that's.
We also get like 20 messages in our chat about each
Right.
hand that you lost.
I will say I do get some level of pleasure.
I
out-
know.
No. Not out of like, not out of gaining sympathy. That's not why I
No,
send them.
no.
I send them because I want it to be like a crime scene where
It
you
does read like a crime scene.
Yeah, you read the hand and
Because
you're
you
just
have it
like,
black and white.
Yeah.
I just imagine that like you guys are reading the hand and you like take a cigar out of your mouth and you just go, oh my God.
You mean like the lightning
No, it's
guns
not
here?
like that. It's just like, wow, this is depressing. It's just like hand after hand after
Good.
hand.
Yeah, that's good. I want to, you know, really get you guys.
Wait, why do
Yeah.
you want to give people sadness?
It's not sadness. I want you to know the reality that exists for you.
No, it
you.
exists for you.
No. No, for all of you. Even Espen.
If
For
it
you.
exists for me, it must exist for you.
He just got front loaded all the good news. Now,
It's all downhill from
yeah,
here.
now comes all the pain, my man.
How many
Now, but
I
now
don't
I
know.
can't feel pain ever again. Like
That's true.
any bad beat now, and I'm going to be like, okay, I had that coming.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you also you did have pain with the Luna thing.
True.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually
and
a
I've
really
had
good story. Tell us a little bit. I know you
I
wrote
wouldn't
about
say
it.
a
but-
good story.
Well, it's a
It's
feel
a
good
good
story now.
story.
Well, feel good
Now.
story now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than getting fucking rugged for 7 figs, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that adds character.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just talking about
He's probably
saunas and
just like,
smoothies all day.
you know what happens? Sometimes you just get rugged in
you
crypto.
clearly-
Move on. Let's move
You
on to the next
clearly
project.
sacrificed your Luna bag for an 8-figure $1 million win
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah.
It was all. This was planned.
Okay, so what happened was, okay, so I got into crypto probably like a little bit in like 2007, near the peak top in 2007. But I got in really
That's
like
super early.
Wait, 2007?
2017.
I was
Oh,
like,
I know. I was
What
like,
was I
This is
saying?
like, fuck you for winning the
Was
main
that-
event. You're so
Rain
rich.
Bitcoin
existed?
came around in 2009, so I'm clearly just
Yeah.
like fucking lying.
Like
here.
you,
Satoshi?
you are
Yeah.
Satoshi.
He's like, yeah. So I bought a pizza.
Okay, so I got in 2017 a little bit, but then I got in properly in 2019, 20 probably, something
Good
like
time
that.
to get into
I got
it.
in at Bitcoin 12K maybe.
Okay.
For like a decent position. Like I think I got in for like 100K or 120K or whatever. And then the bull run came and Bitcoin went pretty high. So I diversified because like at that point I was like heavily invested in crypto because number only goes up. This is a lot of fun and it's free money.
Of course,
Yeah,
it's
right.
green candles, baby. Pump it up.
Listening to every crypto podcast, reading white papers, being like super fucking all in.
How narcissistic are we as a community? Because all of us did this.
I know.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
And we
all were
all
doing
immediately
this.
thought we became sharp.
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
I
dude.
thought I was
It's easy
so
to fall
sharp.
into that trap, right?
Yeah.
But then at some point I was like, okay, this is actually taking a lot of time out of my day, and I don't have as much time as I want to be dedicating to other things like studying poker, fitness, other things, you know? So I was like, okay, I should probably just like try a different strategy. So I decided to just follow the smart money instead. Like, not really try to solve it myself, but like listen to the good podcasts to like stay kind of in
You
the
did
loop.
your own research.
Yeah, like I did not do my own research. I decided to let smart people do research, and I would like copy trade or whatever. But I had a friend who got into crypto trading, and he was like really sharp. He's like one of the smartest people I know as well. So he was pretty early in Avalanche, Solana, Luna, a lot of the alternative layer ones. So I kind of just copy traded him, bought Phantom, AVAX, Luna, Solana, ETH, Bitcoin, whatever. Luna, he was mostly bullish on Luna, and a lot of like Luna was crazy because they had so many like big investors behind them, you know, like the 3 Arrows Capital, who's like not that famed anymore because they went down in flames.
Right.
But like they were like, if you like half a year ago or a year ago, 3 Arrows Capital was regarded as like the fucking top dogs.
Oh, yeah.
They knew their shit, you know. So they were behind it, and some other big names were behind it. Okay, so my Luna position was, I think I went in with like 50K or something in, I think when Luna was like average price $6 or $7.
Wow.
So pretty early.
Yeah.
And I think at peak it was like 120 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point I had diversified, because when you're in Luna you get airdrops for all these other projects as well. Plus I bought some of the other projects as well. So I had like Luna, Anchor, Astroport, what else? Yeah, a bunch of the Terra ecosystem tokens, right? And they were all going like ballistic, right? They were all this
They were. Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
until they weren't.
Yeah.
So at some point, like that position in the Terra ecosystem alone was worth like 1 point something million. And I was living in the UK at the moment, so I was like, okay, if I was obviously not interested in having like 2/3 of my net worth in like one fucking ecosystem in
Right.
crypto, because it's pretty like high risk, right? But I was thinking like, if I liquidate this position now and like switch it around, that's gonna be, thank you, bro. That's gonna be like a big tax bill.
Right.
And I was like, I don't plan on living in the UK forever.
Right.
I would rather live somewhere sunny and nice. So the plan was to move to Portugal later that year, where crypto is tax-free. It's sunny, it's nice. I wanted a change of locations. I was like, if I liquidate this position now, I'm going to pay like hundreds of thousands in taxes, while if I wait like 3 months or whatever, it's going to be taxfree.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would rather do that, honestly.
Yeah.
And we got punished for the
Bad
greed.
timing.
We got
Yeah.
punished for the greed, which is totally fine. Like, I mean, that was totally fine.
Totally fine.
And when it
Copium,
happened
yeah.
as well, it happened in the middle of Scoop, was it? Or was
Yeah.
it? Yeah, Scoop.
It was Scoop,
happened in
yeah.
the middle of Scoop, like week 2 of Scoop or whatever.
Right.
And at that point, I had just been to Monte Carlo, where I played the 10K mystery bounty, played the 25K high roller, played the
Like
main.
minus 55K or whatever.
Yeah, it was minus 55K or whatever for that series. I was
Yeah.
planning to play like a bunch of big stuff during Scoop as well.
Mhm.
Planning to play a big World Series, play all the high rollers and whatever.
Yeah.
And then this comes, like in the middle of my grind session, my friend DMs me like, do you see what's going on with UST? And I'm like, no. And I log in and I see that it's like losing peg a little bit, and people are starting to panic. I think it was like at my like 0.94 or something
Yeah.
then, you know, which is already pretty bad, because like the whole thing behind Luna and UST was this death spiral scenario, right? Where people expect that if this starts sliding, there is no going back, because it's like that mechanism is just gonna go crazy and fuck
Right.
it. So anyways, over the next 3 days that kept happening, and most of my positions were in like staked
no.
projects. Like my
So it's
Luna was
locked,
staked
right?
for 21 days.
Yeah.
My Anchor was not staked, but most of it was locked up. So there
Unmovable,
wasn't-
really.
yeah. So there wasn't really anything I could do about it. So I kind of just like, okay, this happened.
Yeah.
Let me see where the big 109 is and register that instead.
Yeah.
And then
This is fine.
Bounty belt of $55. Let's go.
yeah. And then
It was weird as well because we have like a group chat for streaming, and he was like, I just remember waking up and just like, yeah, can someone else stream today? I need to deal with all of this shit. And we're like, wait, what's going on? And then you just like log online and it's just like, oh shit, the entire market is just absolutely
Yeah.
collapsed.
It-
We
It
used to
went
drive
down.
around Thailand on our bikes singing Luna to 1K. Like literally, like we have these like memes that we like created where like I think Philip just like photoshopped mine and Espen's face on the Island Boys, and everywhere we would go, we'd just be singing Luna to 1K Island Boys. Like it was at like 100, and then as soon as it collapses, we're just like, well, I guess we're not singing that
You
anymore.
went from playing, you went from checking the lobby from Scoop H to Scoop L.
Literally, yeah.
Small L,
Yeah.
but big W. We're back.
So, how much, if you don't mind divulging, like how big of your net worth was invested in this project?
so I think like I peaked at like 1.8 million or something net worth, and
Yeah.
at that point I had like 1.1 million or something in Terra.
Yeah.
Oh my.
But when it collapsed, my net worth was like, crypto market has already been sliding a bit at this point. So I think my net worth went from like 1.6 to 600K or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
I lost like roughly $1 million.
So, to be clear, because I obviously went through something similar, not to that degree, but like I was heavily invested in Bitcoin while it collapsed. You were making all of your playing decisions based off of your peak net worth, right? Like it wasn't like as if you had your assets on a side and then you had a bankroll and all of your decisions were based off the bankroll.
Oh, no. I was treating my bankroll as 1.8 million for
Correct.
sure. Like I was playing. Yeah.
That's something that we
Wait, how many
suck
binds
at.
is that for the 25K?
I would say that's something that like no matter how many times you go through it, it's very difficult to not get out of that mindset. Like, I spent the majority of my career never being rolled for the games that I was playing in, and then eventually I came into some level of wealth. But when I came into some level of wealth, what I noticed smart people doing is buying assets. Like, okay, well, I've never had assets. So now suddenly I have a house, I have cryptocurrency, I'm diversified all over the place. And then I look around and it's like, okay, well, I have a 200K bankroll, but my net worth is like, 10 to 20x this. I'm obviously not going to go back to playing 10-20. This is silly.
Yeah.
So you just start to lump it all together. But the problem with assets is they're not always stable.
Especially
And not
crypto.
always liquid. If you're
Yeah,
in real estate,
definitely
it's
not
not
always
not
liquid.
liquid
Yeah.
and not stable. Yeah.
Right. So it's just like if you start to say like, okay, well, my net worth is X, and I have access to Y plus borrowing power plus leverage and all this other stuff, I could easily maintain a high stakes career here with no problem. And then one day you wake up and your assets collapsed a little bit, or there's been some sort of reverse, and it's like, fuck. Well, what am I going to do now? Maybe I am going back to playing 10-20.
We never look at the worst case scenario, right? And that's the
Yeah.
problem. It's like, well, okay, if all these things happen, or we do look at the worst case scenario and we think it's such a small probability that
Or
we
that
maybe
it's even
dismiss
not that
it
big of a
or-
deal. Like
Right,
he still
yeah.
had 600K.
Right. Well, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like the same thing with how overly invested in Bitcoin I am personally. It's like, okay, like I might have just lost half my net worth with Bitcoin dropping from 60 to 20, but my net worth is still relatively high. It's just such a goddamn inconvenience now because you can't liquidate now because
No, right.
you're
Sell the
effectively-
bottom, right?
Yeah, you're selling bottom.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, if anything, I would want to buy more if I could.
You still have the same amount of Bitcoin, though, whether it's 60 or 20.
You just have to wait till that
Right,
becomes
yeah,
like
it's-
the
You
currency.
That's
didn't lose
true.
any Bitcoin.
No, you lost time.
Yeah,
you lost a
lost-
lot of time and a lot of liquidity.
As long
Uh,
as you don't become a forced seller in these spots, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with these investments.
Yeah.
As long as you don't become a forced seller, you're
Right.
forced to liquidate
People are
because you need liquidity.
Super over
Right.
leveraged.
Yeah,
Right.
because that's the problem, right? If you're forced to sell the bottom, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you can sit and just like wait,
Exactly.
like I think most of us in this room, because we're poker players and poker players in general are super biased towards cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
most part, like
Mhm.
all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
us are like,
Luna to 1K.
all of that's a valid point, but like, how often are you taking profits on the way up?
yeah.
Because like personally, like
Then
I
just
mean,
don't
do
buy-
take profits.
No, yeah. Just stop buying
I
when
mean,
it's at the top,
I like
and
to
then when it
take
comes back down, you
profits
start buying.
on the way up to the point where you're free rolling
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
your
but like,
initial.
if you
And
got
then-
in like I got in at 16, I've been free rolling for 5 years. That's
Yeah.
not helpful.
This is my mom's
It's
mindset
serious
as well.
money.
Like just to take out the what you put in because then you don't risk anything. But I think that's such like a weird mindset because does it matter what you put in?
no,
Does
no,
it like what
right.
matters is like how fucked you are if it goes to zero, right? Like
Yeah.
in terms of your net worth.
Yeah.
It's true.
yeah, exactly.
I think
Like,
it's-
So there's Henry and
about-
Espen
it's-
right now in Thailand.
yeah,
Henry and
if-
Espen in Thailand.
I miss those times when the Island Boys were
Yep.
all everywhere
man.
and everything was going up.
yeah, like if you
and
got into
everyone was
Bitcoin early and you have
crazy.
25 coins and it's at 60K, like to not take profits is very negligent. Like sure, a lot of us didn't do it.
Yeah.
But it's very negligent because it's not about what
That
you
was
risked to
me with
begin with.
Jewel.
Maybe you only risked 25K to get those coins. So it's like if you look at it
That's
as a
true.
proverbial free roll, that's very silly because you've increased your net worth here now by hundreds,
That's true.
Yeah.
maybe even 1,000.
Yeah.
The smart thing to do is probably just like to DCA out of it, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Diversify.
Yes.
Right.
Like
Correct.
not be YOLOing
Put it into
66%
other
of net
stuff.
worth in
That's
one
what people in their
crypto.
50s do.
Yeah.
But when you're in your 30s, you're just like, well, I gambled to get here, I'll gamble to get
I
out.
mean, Landon and I rode Jewel. Well, you got in at like 12 in Jewel.
A Jewel? Oh yeah.
And but I
No,
was
got
in
into
at
Jewel
3,
six and
and
a
then it
half,
went up to
yeah.
22,
Yeah.
and then it went back down to now it's in I don't know
It's
less
at like
than
70
50 cents.
I mean,
less, 17 cents. I remember that, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I would
It
play
was
this
awesome
game.
though.
I was like, man,
we were gardening. We had heroes.
dude,
It was a
we
short
were,
ride,
we
though.
were making like you could just make like 80
Dude,
bucks a day
I-
or
it's-
more.
yeah.
Oh my
It's
god.
hard to
But that stuff is all a short ride. Like
Yeah.
the Bitcoin curve is so much longer.
Right.
You know,
It's hard to remove yourself from that euphoria phase, right?
like,
when
this is gonna
it's
be
at
the
60 or
future.
70,000, everyone's like, "Well, it's going to 100. Why would I sell now?"
Yeah.
Right? But like when everybody thinks it's going to 100 and everybody wants to be in the market,
Yeah.
that's the time to
Man,
start taking the
I
profits.
don't
And
know.
then
It's so-
everyone
it's-
is in
When
already.
the Island
It's-
Boys
there's no
are
more buyers.
famous.
Yeah.
Where's the buyers?
You're right.
Fuck,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
gonna hit a
Yeah,
copium real
exactly.
quick. We got fucked on Jewel, man. There was the
I
dev was
know.
like stealing shit. We got fucked.
I
you
know. No,
we
it ended up being a
copium, bro,
rug. It
copium,
literally
copium.
did end up being a rug.
something tells me
Copium.
that this was predictable.
But like I profited. I still
Of
profited.
course it's predictable. Of course it's all going to fucking zero.
Yeah. And it was so much fun. It was so much
I put
fun.
so much of my fucking net worth into this goddamn
you-
thing. In relation to, like,
Your
money to net
strategy
worth.
was not good.
Of course it was. And I was just fucking having fun.
You went with the most illiquid route. You went with
Yes.
all heroes.
Yeah.
And you were
Yeah.
collecting the heroes, and then you formed emotional attachments to the heroes,
Yeah, they
say
were-
calling
they
them
He did
your
this
children.
with NFTs too. Like there was like a week and a half
I
where
still have
Landon
that
had an
one.
NFT addiction. It was honest to God like watching somebody with like a bad casino addiction. Where he's just coming in with these new cartoons. He's like, I fucking love this thing. I don't care what you say. It's
He
beautiful.
Still, he still has his mecha soul.
I still have something that was worth. Yes, I do.
You got that one, and then you kept the price so high because you didn't really want to sell it, and you never did.
Landon for like a 2 or 3 week stretch was just a janitor. He was just coming in with a broom every day, sweeping the floor. I swept the floor on this
we
today.
went, we collectively swept the Danuki floor.
It was all the same
we
thing,
bought,
though.
like,
It was all-
100 of them.
we had so many, and my boy Zach
And
told me,
we
yo,
were
get rid of these
we're
things,
in the
dude. Get rid
Discord,
of
like,
them.
we love you guys. And it's like everyone's going crazy.
When you
Like, oh
think
my
it's gonna
God,
go to
who's
1K?
sweeping right now?
I can just imagine
That was
like,
me.
Laptops with the same.
guys.
We split it up between two walls with two
Imagine him in
laptops
some
sweeping
Discord
so
server.
fast.
No, yeah, but we were Discord. We were Danuki legend.
We literally
my
pump and
God.
dumped
We were
the
fucking
Danukis.
legends.
We
I
fucking
literally
love you,
I
pumped
did
bro.
and dumped.
so well. I did so well, just like playing online one month that I was like, you know what, like online, this is easy. Like the money's not going away. So like, I'm just gonna keep playing. And I'm just gonna put this money here.
It's so
and if that
easy.
goes away, no problem, right? But the difference in that situation is like I was confident in my skill set to be able to have that like renewable form
Yeah.
of income.
Right.
oh,
Like,
that's
you
a fun
don't-
trap to fall
It's
into.
a little bit of it, yeah. Because
Yeah.
They're
now
like, oh, if I
would-
extrapolate this to every month, then I'm super rich and I can afford to put all of this in DeFi Kingdom's heroes.
Yeah, but Luna to 1K though, like I get it. Like
Yeah.
if you think it's gonna go to 1K, why would you sell?
Right.
You're the idiot then, right?
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
like, if you play the game of like true false, like Luna 1K, true.
Yeah,
Why would you
that's
sell it $100.
hey, yeah, that's
That's
definitely
too
how
much.
investing works.
That's investing, right?
It's so dangerous though. Like I learned like because okay, I knew about like confirmation bias before this. How you'd like always take in impressions that you want to take in, and like you kind of like just hush away the stuff, the headlines that you don't want to read, or the information that you
Yes.
don't want to read, right? And I was aware of this concept, but after Luna collapsed, I was like, fuck, like I really had all the red lights. Like there were like
So
were
many,
alarm
lot.
bells, you know.
Yeah.
There were
Yeah.
A lot of smart people was saying this death spiral is coming sooner or later, you know. It is gonna happen. And I was just like, yeah, no. Like, there's too many smart people behind this. And I kept like regurgitating.
Regurgitating.
Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna try to use fancy words anymore. Like, I was trying to tell myself that there's too many smart people and blah blah blah, and I was in so early that I became like a fanboy or whatever, like fucking worshipping Do Kwon.
Yeah,
you know,
you
just
feel
like,
loyal
"Ah."
to it because like you've
Yeah.
been in since the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't Gigantic Rebirth like bet against Do Kwon back in like November or October
And
when
he's like
we were
one
in
of
like
the
Thailand?
sharpest guys, right?
Literally, it's just like NFTs are just like CryptoPunks are just going to be worth X amount. And everyone
Yeah.
was like, no way, yeah, bet. And he's like, okay, bet, like 50 mil, let's go. And then like March rolls round and
I remember that he like
CryptoPunks
said
are,
that
like-
Luna would be worth less than certain amount
It was
by
80.
a certain time
yeah,
frame.
I think it was like
Who
at
did this?
$85 or $86 when they made this bet, and they said a year from now it'll be worth more or less. And it was like a $10 million bet or something.
That's
like that.
definitely
right,
less
yeah,
now.
that's-
It was like
Yeah.
a $1 bet with
So
Alec
I mean, Luna
trading
still
first.
has a chance to get back up to $86
Oh God, Brian, we
before
love you, Brian.
Luna 2 or
Luna
Yeah.
2.0.
True.
So you're not exactly a young buck, even though I think to most you're pretty fresh on the scene. I've only become aware of you in the last year or so, and it was largely because you were partnered with Henry for Overbet Express. This isn't your first rodeo. I'm sure you've been up and down in poker a bunch. What do you do now that you have all of this money? You've had the ride up and the fall fast in crypto. I'm certain, without knowing much of your backstory, you've had the same sort of trajectory in poker at least a time or two.
Honestly,
Where do you invest?
I haven't really had that. Like, I've been in poker since 2004,
That's so crazy.
but I've never had like, because you know back then poker was so easy. You didn't have downswings. I think I had
Speak
like
for yourself, buddy.
no, but honestly, so I had like $50 to begin with or something on
Yeah.
Stars back in 2006 or whatever, and from that point, I think like till 2000. I don't remember when was the first time I had to deposit. I think it was after Black Friday.
wow.
Before Black Friday, I didn't have one losing month. Not one losing month
That's
for
wild.
like
Yeah.
8 years or some shit. I don't know, like
What were you
infinite
playing
years.
mostly?
Cash games. Like I played. I started playing sit and goes, and then I played tournaments for a little bit. But I played Heads Up Cash for 6 years or something. I was also playing cash games for most of it, and it was so easy. Like it was just free money. Like you said, this is just like an online ATM or whatever it felt like. You know.
Online ATM.
I want to
Sure,
try
yeah,
And for
the
the last
online-
years as well, I've been
online
mostly
ATM.
playing cash games. Like I started playing MTTs like 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. Before that, I was playing cash games on like soft Euro sites, and it was a similar concept there. Like you just didn't have downswings
Yeah.
because
Sounds like an oxymoron. Soft Euro sites.
sure. Yeah, no, but yeah, like
At the time, it was.
Yeah. No,
Oh.
but these sites are still very soft.
Yeah.
Like the smaller sites, like any smaller site,
Okay.
like you're gonna have to deal with like shitty software and whatnot. But the games are great, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if like I was playing NL 200, NL 400 on these sites, and yeah, there was somewhat variance free, I would say.
Was
It's
that
just like
the
the
highest stakes on the site?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So like on those sites, like games stakes wise were lower, but games are good and worth still
Yeah.
playing because your win rate was so high.
400 euro was like the max stake
Right.
on this site.
Yep, makes sense.
And and it was
Great.
insane, absolutely insane. So it was first when I started playing MTTs now that I had my first downswing. Like a few years ago, I went from like a 200k net worth to 100k net worth, but I was being pretty fucking stupid as well. I was playing like 5ks and not selling action and stuff like that, you know, with the
Yeah, yeah.
200k bankroll.
Yep.
Because I was like, my mindset was, okay, I have these cash games that I'm like crushing
Online
variance
ATM.
free. So if I go on a big downswing, I'll just like grind it back up or whatever. And that was my mindset. And I said it was stupid, but honestly, I don't think it was stupid. I think it was probably totally fair because it was pretty
Yeah,
variance free.
I think in situations like that, your risk of ruin is actually still low.
Yeah.
Like the difference between 200k and 100 isn't much
No.
to your like life inconvenience or even your bankroll. And it's not like you're gonna go from 100 to 0 at
Yeah.
a really
Right.
high frequency.
And I was living in a cheap European city. I was living in Estonia, in Tallinn. It's super cheap. I don't have an expensive lifestyle. I live like pretty humble. I don't wear fashion clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't really feel like the risk of ruin was there even. Like, yeah, felt like zero.
That makes a lot of sense. Like in the sense of going from 200 to 100, but like if you have you play 5Ks and you don't sell and like you win a couple 100K, like that's pretty massive. Going from like 1 to 5 or like 100 to a million, like 100K to a million versus going from 200K to 100, where it's like, I'm just gonna play these same stakes I was playing before and go back to a 200 and try again.
Yeah.
Lifestyle doesn't change.
Exactly. Nothing changes. Just the amount of overall dollars.
What about when you get it up to 5 million? Those are the
Yeah,
lifestyle
now I don't
change.
know, honestly. I haven't thought about it. I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, maybe something to meditate over.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think like, because when you get to 5 mil, right, like if I want to be set for life now, I could ish be, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at like the 4% rule or whatever, like the average like income you can get from investments and stuff, I can comfortably live on the
People
interest
say that
rate
as
or
though
whatever.
it's so easy. I don't know that in modern day. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you could
It probably
like
depends where you live.
you could find a money manager or
Yeah,
something like that
Financial
and
advisor.
yield 4% pretty easily, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't want to speak for you, but like as you accrue wealth, especially as a poker player, I think it's very difficult to just lock up a large chunk of your net worth into a very low interest yield and then just like live very moderately off of the benefits of that yield when you're programmed to be a calculated risk taker. And there are a lot of high interest yields or high interest ventures that you can invest in that come with a larger risk of ruin, but you know, we consider ourselves somewhat sharp. Like, do you see yourself moving more into the conservative pathway, or like I can't imagine you just stop taking risks.
No, I'm just waiting for the next crypto bull run now, so I can
Sure.
find the next Luna with like
Yep.
fucking 40% interest.
Yeah.
yield, and
Exactly.
It's
You
good
go from
timing,
5
Then it's all
million
in.
to 500 million.
True.
So you do it.
No, I mean, of course, like now I have to like slow down and like actually think about it, right? But I'm gonna take some risk, like not insane risk, but I'm gonna take some risk for sure. And I'm also like I'm not that risk averse in general. Like you say, I'm not a young buck anymore. For sure, I'm 34, but I don't feel like 34. You know, I don't have a family. I don't have anything. Like I travel around and I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have like a loan. I don't have any assets. Like I'm pretty fucking
Yeah.
yeah, I can do stuff. Like it's not gonna influence anyone if I lose a bunch of my net worth or whatever, right? Of course, now with
Well, you'll be a cover story, but other than
of course,
that,
yeah. Now, like with 6 mil or whatever, it's not gonna be. I'm not gonna do that anymore because now I have a bit more to lose. The goal was always to run it up to where I could play the highest stakes and like prove myself in the highest stakes, which is still the goal. But I'm not gonna start playing 200Ks and take all my own action. Of course, like I'm gonna like play it pretty responsibly. But yeah,
Those Euro sites sound pretty soft. Maybe you do.
it's gonna be hard to go and play NL 400.
Probably.
yeah,
gonna
you
be a
don't work.
tough one.
You don't work for an hourly anymore. You work for a salary, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess that's a good pivot in to the road ahead. Yourself, Henry, there are a few other in the crew for Overbet Express. You guys had built this platform prior to this massive, I hate to say it, windfall.
New bingo word.
What? Yeah, new bingo word. Landon fucking
that-
beat it into the ground.
That
I
is
said
a
it-
windfall.
I
That's
said
like
it
the.
once.
That's a
that
giga
Loves it.
windfall.
No, I mean
Loves
that's the perfect.
So.
word for it.
What is what's your path moving forward in poker? I know you're interested in playing high stakes, but what does that look like? Is it entering the high roller scene? Is it chasing these high stakes cash games? Is it all the above? How big of a piece of yourself do you plan on having? And then how does that fit into the overall vision of what you're trying to do as a personal brand, as the Overbet Express brand, as an ambassador for the game, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that out. For sure, going to be playing as much high-stakes stuff that I can. Like now I'm getting invites to some cash games that I otherwise would not be invited to. Because a lot of these cash games don't really want to invite professionals too much. It's kind of like a private limited access thing. But now I have some people who want to play with me. So I get invites, which is cool. I'm curious to see how that works. And how long that lasts, if it's like the first month or if it's like the next year, we'll see. For tournaments, just gonna try to play a lot of the stuff and go really hard studying I said it was useless during the WSOP, but it's
Very
not going to be
useful
useless.
Yeah,
in a
It's not going to be
25K.
useless in a
Different
25 case when you're
fields,
sitting
right,
with
yeah.
Chidwick and Haxon.
What
and
type of
whatever.
volume do you think you'll put in like year over year for call
Any-
it average buy-in of 25K?
All of it.
All the good ones, I would say. Like I'm not.
Like, do you
gonna-
think you'll play 100 events?
125 Ks?
Well,
Is there 125 Ks?
average
Yeah.
buy-in, like you could play 100K and sell down whatever.
No, I don't think it's going to be that much. 100 events with average buy-in 25K sounds like a lot.
I think that's probably right around what the
boys are
majority of the
doing.
high
Yeah?
rollers are playing.
Yeah.
With re-entries, obviously, of course, but
There's a lot of game selection and festival selection. In
that's
think
kind
so.
of what I'm getting at.
Games-
Is like,
yeah,
are you
yeah,
just gonna
yeah.
be firing the high roller circuit, like all
I
the
don't want to
Tritons,
fire
all
just
the
to fire.
yeah.
I still want to play good games, and like, of course, like if there is like a lineup with only the top dogs, I don't really need to be dick swinging in that just
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
I still like I want to do it gradually, you know. I don't want to just hop in and like think that I'm like the best now because I won a lot of money.
Sure.
I still have a lot to learn, and
You're
there's-
saying you're not the best poker player in the world because you won the main event?
I'm trying
the
to be
best
humble,
player
of
in the
course. I
world.
kind of
Uh-huh.
think I am, but yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
That's interesting because like before the crypto crash and then obviously before the main, I remember like being at home in Thailand, just like asking Espen like, what motivates you, man? Like, you know, you have 7 figs, crypto's going well, poker's going well. Like, where are you gonna take this? Like, what's gonna need to happen in order for something to change? And it was just like, I'm not even doing it for the money anymore, which kind of was a big wake up call for me as well, personally, in the sense that he just wanted to compete for the sake of competing against top players. And like you were talking about like legacy and just like wanting to battle with the best and like getting to that stage and just enjoying the process and the journey of like getting to the high stakes realm.
It's an ego thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like because now I'm like,
You want
I'm
to be
not-
feared. Like you want people to see your
Yeah.
screen name and be like, fuck, it's him to Nasaki. Like,
I want Adamo to not cap his range on the turn because he knows he can get fucked on the river if he does. Like that's what I need. That's what I
Pretty
need.
high level, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It comes from like insecurities, like childhood insecurities and shit like
Yeah.
that. I guess where you like feel you have to prove
You have
yourself.
to prove yourself, yeah.
I guess if I was a crusher in kindergarten, I wouldn't feel this. But
That's because you would have already peaked, you know? Like, you don't want to
Yeah.
peak in
You
kindergarten.
don't want to peak in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
it's a big trap, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a long road down.
Yeah, you don't want to be the kindergarten crusher, bro.
No.
But I want all those kids in
I'm
kindergarten.
not gonna
man,
lie, I was kind of
Yeah, yeah.
killing it in first grade, and yeah,
But, like, you
I'd
speak-
prefer to be down and go up.
Yeah.
I may have peaked in first grade. I'm not sure.
No. Well, like, that's the thing, right? Like, you never really want to feel like you've hit a peak, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
once you, like, you
Yeah.
want to be growing towards
Always
something,
working
building
towards
towards something
something.
when it comes to, like, self-development or, like, career. Like, you always want to feel like you're kind of doing something more and, like, working towards something. But it's easy. Like, you don't want to make this thing be, like, the past. Like, your biggest achievement, so to speak, for, like, a legacy thing is fine. Like, I won the main, right? Like, you have so much more life to live,
It's one
tournaments
tournament, you
to
know?
play.
It's one
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone can like. I won the main. Like
Hey, you'd
yeah.
be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I think there's a lot of
1960.
I think there's a lot of the community that if they won the main, they would exit poker.
oh, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a lot of people this series that told me exactly this. If I win the main, I'm out of here.
yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. Like a lot of people, like there's a lot of people in poker. I feel like that don't have the love for the game anymore.
Mhm.
Right.
They don't really want to
It
compete.
feels stuck.
Yeah.
They kind of just feel stuck. They don't have any other life skills.
Yeah.
They've been in poker since 2006 and they don't
Mhm.
have a CV. They don't have an education. They don't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah.
They kind of feel the need to do it, and they yeah, which
game's
is
I think
Really
there's
sad.
another side to
Kind
that
of.
coin, though.
It's really
I
sad.
think there's the other side where there are a lot of people who have been in poker that long, and they see the ceiling continually lowering, and they recognize that they have intelligence or ability or other things that can be leveraged in bigger markets
Yeah.
for much, much greater return. And I think people then begin to take stock and say, like, what am I doing? Yes, I get to play a game. Like they very quickly begin to ignore all the upside of playing this game for a living. All the autonomy, all the ability to travel, the fact that you're playing a game as your job and all that other stuff. And then they start to focus on the fact of like, I'm not contributing to society. I don't do anything meaningful with my time. I could be getting, you know, a 5x return, applying myself in all of these other industries. And you start to lose a lot of self-worth, just getting lost in the wash, you know, being an average reg, if you will.
Is that like, I'm not shooting shots, it's more from a relatability accountability standpoint, is that why you guys wanted to venture out and like give more back to the community other than just playing by creating content? Because like for me, content creation and commentary has nothing to do with the income side of things.
Yeah.
It's more just having a purpose and creating something and be like, I fucking made that. And if just one person gets value out of what I create, then it served its purpose. I don't care if it makes me 100K, I don't care if it makes me 0. And like, I think like with what you guys are doing, firstly, from like just like a friendship point of view and just like having a group of friends connecting and like having conversations, you got the cameras on, but it's whatever, like you really strengthen those bonds as friends, but also just like by giving back to the community in the form of a podcast where it's just like a show that everyone in your community can come and hang out. Like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's more just like, yeah, like creating stuff.
Do you enjoy the things you create?
I honestly,
And
when we sit down and we brainstorm stuff, and then we're like, okay, we have 0 clue how we're going to do it, but we're going to give it a fucking try.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we get 1 comment or 1,000 views or whatever it is. And one person's like, I really enjoyed this. It's like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's slightly different. The origin of all of this that we see here now, Solve for Why and everything else, it kind of was born out of the same sort of like halt and take stock moment that Espen's going through right now. When I was getting the opportunity to play the Super High Roller Bowl in 2016, I was coming off of the worst downswing that I'd ever had. But prior to that, it was the most wealth that I had ever had.
A windfall.
So I had been in high stakes at that point for 4 years or so, and I had accumulated millions. And prior to that, I had never had more than a couple 100,000. So what happened during that big downswing that turned right around when I had the opportunity to play the Super High Roller Bowl was I realized that I was coming closer and closer and closer to what my peak expectation was in the poker community. And I was also very understanding of the fact that the high stakes private cash side of things was very fleeting, right? Like I was getting maybe on average 25 or 30 plays a year. So I had to do the best that I could out of like 400 hours and try to make as much as I possibly could while also answering to a backing group, while also playing tournaments on my own dime, trying to run it up in that regard and things of that nature. So basically I just got to a point where it was like, okay, you have a lot of wealth now and it's not going to grow exponentially any longer. Like that ship has sailed. When you're going from 0 to 100,000 or even 100,000 to a million, as you increase stakes, as you increase your ability and things like that, your wealth tends to grow exponentially, right? The return is rather rapid and compounding. You get to move up rapidly and all these other things. Once you start to break a certain barrier, once you have 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, whatever, the stakes are no longer really high enough. You just start to become properly rolled and you need to sell less action or you need to have backing less often. But they become so much more volatile and so much more fragile. Your ability to even remain in the arena has nothing to do with how good you are now, and has everything to do with your network. It has everything to do with how likable you are. It has everything to do with how sustainable that particular environment is, right? The guys that I've been playing with for that better part of a decade would all welcome me into a game tomorrow, but the vast majority of them aren't running games any longer. And now this new wave has taken over and like my access to high stakes is very different. So I think I kind of saw the writing on the wall and I knew that poker wasn't going to fulfill my competitive and creative side enough any longer. And content I just saw as being very, it was just very ripe for the picking. There were so many things we were lacking, right? November 9 was still a big deal back then. And it always just boggled my mind that these guys could make the biggest final table in our entire industry and have the biggest moment of their lives and then spend that 3.5 months doing nothing.
Yeah.
Almost across the board. We had a close friend, Phil Collins, make the November 9 in 2011. And like across the board, nobody did anything. They didn't leverage their spot. They didn't really train. They didn't create any content around it. Like it was so far ahead of its time. If November 9 were a thing
out
now,
of fear of like you make the November 9, you start creating content and you bust 8th or 9th, and then everyone's like, well, you're just a fucking idiot.
I don't think it was that. I think what it was is that almost every single person until the November 9 ended, that was the biggest score of their career. Because high rollers weren't a thing yet.
No, of course, yeah.
Right? So they have like half to 90 to 100% of themselves of now a 7-figure score, and they have a chance to win upwards of 8 to 10 million, right? So for them, it's just like a vacation where they get to do the press tour.
It's like, I win anyways.
So many of them would just fucking go to Europe, play WSOP Europe. They would, go to Florida and play the Sherpo and stuff like that. And it was just to get their shine. Yeah. It was just to be celebrated by the other peers in their community.
Like, good luck, man. Like, good luck in the November 9.
Right. Rather than recognizing this is a once in a career opportunity.
They're going on their celebrity tour.
100%.
It's like,
and they're not being paid for it.
Right.
No, they're not being compensated for it. Yeah, they're not being compensated for it. They're doing all the podcasts, all the news articles, everything's being written about them.
Yeah.
But it's literally their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
If they don't actually win it and then do something with winning it, they disappear.
Yeah.
Wow,
right?
they really should bring
Like
back
that's the
November
time
9.
to start an OnlyFans.
Yes, yes, that is the time to start OnlyFans. So yeah, I mean, like, content creation for me is a lot more selfish of an endeavor. I agree, and I believe in everything that you're saying. Also, from the selfless side, like I want to fill holes in this industry that I think need to be filled.
Yeah,
we do a daily show because there isn't one, and we think that it's of high value to this industry.
Super high value.
Do you think that they should bring back? I feel like they should bring back to November 9.
I think they should, but
It'd be great from like a press perspective.
but they won't.
Yeah.
They won't because of TV. It was an ESPN thing, right? Like the reason it ended was because either the ESPN contract was up or they didn't want to adhere to it any longer. But in any event, like I don't think. I mean, television is just a whole other thing that's gone.
Yeah, it'd be pretty nice if it was, because like making the content, because like obviously if you get like 8th or 9th, it kind of sucks. But if you win, you now have that like documentary of like what it was like before playing the main, like during and after, of like, okay, I spent this 3 months doing this. This is how I trained. This is who I trained with.
That was 100% the brainchild for Dead Money, the doc that we did for Poker Go.
It's crazy. It's like you look at like Counter-Strike or esports, for example, like they've figured it out. They've created storylines. They've created rivalries. They've created, these characters within the industry that people can either love or hate. And it's something that I feel like in poker, in terms of content creation, we're still so early on.
Well, we don't have a major platform driving it.
Not yet, no.
Right, we're all doing it autonomously on our own.
But you have like, Rampage, Nimi, Brad, those guys as like the first people kind of like venturing out on their own. But there still isn't those like storylines and rivalries, and like people still haven't figured out a way to make the consumers of content invested in the outcome of what happens.
Because it doesn't happen at the individual level, right? Everybody would have to coordinate underneath something, right? Like if we created like Vlogger Inc. and created a brain trust at Vlogger Inc. that then pulled in or incentivized all the vloggers to operate under us, and we then created the rivalries, the storylines, the things people should care about, and then compensated them as such, you would see a massive spike.
What they should do is do like 2 months, 2 million, but there's so many cliques of groups. People tend to have they operate in their groups in poker, and have everyone like bring their friend group together and have them compete.
Yeah,
in,
no,
like,
the
a
idea
profit
obviously,
challenge
the idea is
over-
great, but when you say they, who's they?
It just sounds like that scene
know.
from Anchorman at the end where they all just like start trying to kill each other and fight. Like, you got the Dutch crew, the Norwegian crew.
Rick's got a grenade in his hand.
But like that's the thing. That's the thing. In esports, they play under a flag, right? They compete for a league.
Under an org,
Under an org,
and that doesn't exist in poker.
Yeah.
So,
but it could.
Yeah.
You not
it
think
could,
it could?
but like you would need Kerry to decide that that's the route he wants to go and invest millions of dollars into it.
All
And
right,
it's
let's
just
do
like
it.
very low probability because
right.
the path to return is not clear.
Carrie, if you're watching, we want to start a league.
Yeah, we want to start a league.
I mean, Alex Dreyfus tried this with the Global Poker League, and I think it was an okay idea that was executed very poorly. But I think it's a good demonstration of how difficult the execution aspect is.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you have business minds trying to execute on what a creative mind needs to be executing on.
Exactly, especially in a new industry like this.
Yeah.
Right? Like esports is a little bit easier because the gameplay itself kind of sells. It's fascinating to watch a game play out.
Yeah.
We still haven't really figured out how to make poker interesting to watch.
Yeah.
We've lost that luster a little bit. So yeah, that makes it challenging.
It's interesting because like we see like viewership from metric standpoints of like streams, like call like Hustler streams and be like, oh, like there's like 5K concurrent, there's 7K concurrent. But there's other things when it comes to like league or other sports games where like it's hundreds of thousands of people watching. So like it's really hard to kind of figure out how to make poker become like that because maybe it's just capped. You can't.
Well, and also like I mean, sure, those games are maybe more interesting to watch, but there's a lot of them that I don't understand what's going on, and I would never watch it. I don't think that the games are inherently interesting on their own.
Some are, some aren't, but like you have the point is you have the selection. We just have poker. It's not like we have, like we know that stud's not interesting to watch. So it's not like it's an option, you know. But I guess that does carry us into like what's next for Overbet Express. Like obviously this is a massive opportunity for you guys, having him kind of lead the way.
It's interesting
as if he's not in the room, you know.
when we started it, there was always this like, what if this happens? There are a lot of hypotheticals because we're all friends, but we all have our own personal interests, right?
Sure.
And like I remember when we first started, we even like speaking with like Galfon, just trying to get like some advice, you know, running like a brand and whatnot. He was like, well, for example, it might not make sense for Espen to be heavily involved in a year from now. And, you know, fast forward a year, he's just won the main. It doesn't make sense for him to be taking up 10 hours of his day streaming the Bounty Builder 215 now going forward. It's the same with like Jonas. Like he was always playing poker, but Jonas is one of those guys that just always excelled at anything he touched. Like sports betting, made fucking millions. He just figured it out and did it on his own. Same with poker. And he's similar to me in that sense where we hop onto something, we get excited for a few months, and then we kind of like want to do our own things. So now with Obex, you know, I've got the podcast. He's just won the main. It would be silly for him to not focus on like his personal brand and like just like really trying to be like a great ambassador, and then just use Obex as like an umbrella. You know, like any videos that we create, tag Obex or upload them, and then if in a year's time it makes sense to like pursue it aggressively, then we'll revisit it. But I think for now, personal brand is probably the way forward.
I think from my vantage point, so first of all, personal brand is important in the sense that people will gravitate towards a single individual more so than a flagship, so to speak. Like if I could do this all over again, I would have created the Matt Berkey YouTube account instead of the Solve for Why YouTube account. And I think Doug is a good example of how that's a proven metric.
Proving that to be true.
No, proven to be true.
Yeah, proving that to be true.
Oh, yeah. Like his channel is like 10x that of Upswing.
Yeah.
So I do think that what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But secondary to that, what I think the opportunity that really lays before you guys is the ability to think bigger and get outside of the four walls of what you first envisioned Obex to be. And the reason I say that is because by and large, when you're starting and you don't have any momentum in your favor, you're just trying to do what everybody else is doing a little bit better and a little bit more creatively. And if we look just at the black and white zoomed out version of like what Obex is, it's a group of friends that are putting on poker streams, doing some vlogs, and doing some podcasts. And that's literally poker YouTube in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right? So the opportunity now then becomes your characters are a lot more defined because Espen is a celebrity. Your podcast is a hit. Jonas is crushing his little sector, right? So now it becomes a matter of like, how can you take that social capital and leverage it in a way that hasn't been done yet in this industry? And that's not to say that you should cast aside the things that have worked. right? Like clearly the podcast is going to be an anchor that you guys rely on. But like the idea that Espen would ever stream a Sunday is borderline silly unless there's some bigger thing attached to it that he's trying to drive eyes to. So like from my vantage point, it becomes a matter of like, well, you have the one resource that a lot of people are generally lacking in this space, and that is effectively time, right? Because now his celebrity's not going anywhere anytime soon, and he has capital to deploy anytime necessary. That just means that you have like a lot of time for creativity. And he's bought himself a lot of time because he doesn't need to grind 30 hours a week any longer, right? So I guess like as a fan from the outside looking in, I wouldn't scrap it, right? Yeah. I would find ways to envision it becoming bigger than you would have ever imagined, right? Find ways, even if it's just on paper, not actually executing it, but find ideas that lead to it being bigger than Poker Go, right? That's what we're always doing. We never get there, but like we're always brainstorming. Like if we had decided tomorrow that Poker Go was the competition that we wanted to put ourselves in the ring with, what would we do? How would we do it? How would we execute it? What's the team necessary? And oftentimes we just fall on like, we don't have enough resources. Like we lack the team necessary, we lack the capital necessary to deploy. But ideas are very, very dime a dozen, you know? So it's a matter of like when you start to align a bunch in a row and you say like, hey, we have the team in place for this. Now all we have to do is fundraise or have the passion to go forward with it, execute, you know?
What do you want to do? Like, where do you see it going?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, because in the beginning, you know, we had all these ideas. We wanted to like have streams going every day, hire streamers, or like get people under our wing that we could like coach and stake and whatever, and have them stream for us. We would be streaming some days ourselves. We would be doing a lot of duo streams and stuff like that. We had all these ideas, like fucking rent a castle in France and have like a grind house for a month during Scoop and have students in there.
I would love
like
to
have giveaways for that. And we had all these ideas, you know, but in the end, like, yeah, like this came up and that came up and then went to Thailand and did absolutely nothing for 5 months.
Yeah,
right. Like, it's like I think the drive just wasn't there enough for us as a group. Like we had a lot of like ideas and drive in the beginning. I remember some of those brainstorming sessions. We were like fired up.
Yeah.
But then like when it comes to execution, everyone is like, yeah, actually like I have this and I have that. You know,
right, like, I have to play tomorrow.
I mean, from a personal standpoint, what I would say has helped me the most as we've grown this vision as best we can is always keeping scale in mind and just disregard the small stuff, right? Like some of those ideas sound fantastic, especially if you could start to apply scale to them, right? Yeah. Like, don't make it a castle where you bring in some students. Make it a village where you bring in poker. I'm serious.
Buy a village.
I mean, I'm joking, but I'm serious.
Buy an
like,
entire town.
No,
you know,
like,
get
Eastern Europe, Romania, or Bulgaria.
how many shekels could that possibly cost us? We're fine.
Buy no country.
I'm
Overbet Express Village.
I'm being somewhat serious. Like, if you were able to coordinate something like this, where you got OBX, you got Poker Code, you got Solve for Why, you got Run It Once, you got all of these already coexisting things. Now all of a sudden, this 2 months, 2 million idea, where it's a competitive arena, is feasible.
And then each company they decide to stake a certain group or whatever, and then they compete against each other.
Yeah, like these ideas aren't so far fetched now that you have so many more resources accessible to you.
I think the thing for us to not try and like put us in a different category, but we're all gamers. Like we all come from like we just love gaming, and I think like especially with Philip at like the helm when it comes to like content creation, there was always going to be a cap on what we could do within the poker world, right? Because it's just, unfortunately, the way that content consumption works now is people want things as fast-paced as possible, the highest levels of dopamine being released. So, you know, TikTok, Instagram Reels, all that shit. People don't want to watch someone tank for 30 seconds, regardless of whether it's for 100K or not. So there's a limit because of the game in terms of what we can do. But gaming, and maybe like a crossover or collaboration between like the esports world and trying to bring new people into poker or vice versa. That's something that we could definitely like explore. But again, like even starting our own org, like to get a roster, I was speaking with Philip about this the other day, like to get a roster that could even compete at a top 20 level currently in CS:GO, it's going to cost us 200k a month
Yeah.
to find like a
CS:GO is
bunch of
crazy.
like.
CS:GO's crazy.
Exactly, but it's like in terms of like scaling, like okay, sure, 200k. Would that be better off just staking like 10 Belarusian crushers that are like crushing like the bounty 55?
Yeah.
No, that's been done before. You know, there are stables that do that shit. You know,
Yeah.
are people really going to be that invested in that journey?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
So
but
it's like, what do we do?
And honestly, like I don't know how much you factored in the cost, but like it's going to be more than 200k.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like once you get into the production cost of everything, the travel, the rosters.
100%. Yeah.
It's going to be too much. You need to bring in like big partners that already have
For sure.
visions in mind. And now you might lose some autonomy. I think your head's in the right place. I love what you guys do, obviously. I think you're both very talented. Espen, I've just gotten to know a little bit better. This trip, Henry, I already knew you a little bit. I look forward to see like what comes out of that camp. If you told me 18 months from now, Espen was just like living in the Alps as a personal trainer with all of his money fired off into ETH, I wouldn't be shocked by any stretch. And honestly, it kind of sounds like desirable. So, I mean, I think like keeping your eyes open to opportunities and stuff is really great. But there's a part of you, I would imagine, that's just going to want to chill.
There is a part of me that wants to chill, but I think like I think this is like a good opportunity to strike while iron is hot or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So going really hard now, go around and play all these events, and also to fill, as you were talking about, like this void. I don't think there's many people like going and showing behind the scenes of these high roller stops, right? Like no one is gonna go to a Triton and vlog.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Only
see
Negreanu. He's as close as we come.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not much of that.
Yeah.
And I think doing that and getting a lot of just like behind the scenes, just talking to different people that are playing it, tell their stories and whatnot. I think that's like a cool void to fill if
Agreed.
it's possible to go to play all these things. And I don't want to be that guy who goes to these stops and like I don't think it makes sense to do like hand history breakdowns and whatnot. Maybe tell like a couple of the most interesting hands or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe,
so
yeah.
like we played this big hand, we doubled up, whatever. Tell the hand history like really quick. But most people are not going to be interested in the nitty gritty solver
Right.
outputs or whatever.
I mean,
you
it's
know,
the lifestyle vlog type.
people want to
Exactly,
see
yeah,
emotions.
yeah.
People want to see like storylines and
Yeah.
whatnot. So if you can like frame that in a good way and tell good stories behind these high roller stops, I think that would be cool.
I mean, there's a blackjack vlogger that I watch, and I don't even like blackjack. And people in the comments are like, I don't know anything about blackjack, but this lifestyle is so interesting to
Yeah.
me. It's like the lifestyles that people don't think about, but then they watch it and they're like, this is actually very interesting. I would
think
never
that's-
see this otherwise.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Like that's kind of what I think we missed with Thailand. Like
Right.
before this like main event like win, like there were so many people that would DM us like in our Discord whenever we'd go live or just like on social media, like, oh, can you guys shoot a video of like the cost of living in Thailand for a poker player, this, that, and the other. And like we live humble lives, but for the most part, it's still highly entertaining for a lot of people what
Sure.
we do,
Yeah.
you know, like jet setting around, like going to these like
Still
exotic locations.
voyeuristic for them. Like,
Yeah, and it's just like,
Yeah.
well, now, like he wants to focus on being like a really good ambassador for the game. And like you said, you know, doing these hand breakdowns, it's been done a million times.
Yeah.
But how about trying to actually bring people from other industries who consume different types of content into poker, where we're going to all these amazing places, we're hanging out with you guys, we're going to like these podcasts and whatnot, and then include maybe two of the most interesting hands where we can break it down to normal people, you know, this hand was worth $40,000.
Right.
Right.
They don't need to understand
Nobody
what
cares
poker
about
is.
check raising king 6 on
Exactly.
4-3.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
So-
why your suit was good.
As much as I care, it's
I
not,
think, I
it's
think
not the
that's
way.
going to be really
Not the
interesting.
way.
Like it's
Yeah.
like a new style of vlog. Not to shit on anyone that is doing that already, but I just think
I think the lifestyle, selling the lifestyle, and I mean, I love watching different lifestyles
Yeah.
and different perspectives and sort of, it's how people love voyeurism. It's why reality TV does so well. It's why
Yeah.
travel shows do so well. and it's
When we did our vlog initially in 2017,
I like the vlog. The vlog.
I
The
think.
vlogumentary.
Yeah, no.
Vlog chronicles.
We vlogged for a year, so I think it was like 2017. All of 2017 we vlogged, and then it culminated in the vlogumentary that we did during the summer.
I love the vlogumentary.
It was great. It was
So
it was
good.
honestly fantastic. But I think we're way ahead of our time because it was a lot of what you're saying. It was more lifestyle than hands. It was more, highlighting the group element, the kinship, and all that other stuff, than it was putting a hyper focus on this pot was worth 100K.
Bring it
Don't get me
back.
wrong. Like, we did that when we were afforded to. Like, if I played on Live at the Bike and I got to use the footage, we would highlight it, of course.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just, travel and, being boys and stuff like that. And it didn't perform the way we expected it to. But I think it's because Nimi was the only other vlogger out there at the time. It was like him and Trooper. And they were really carving out what became the niche vlogging space. And the template was set, right? So we were kind of bucking a trend that hadn't even really taken off yet. And we were coming at it from non-everyman perspective. Like, I'm playing high rollers, I'm playing, nosebleed cash, and we're traveling to play LEPC as a collective group. So that's 5 of us that are firing a 10K and stuff like that, while Nimi's like grinding 2-5 and Trooper's playing 1-3 at Flamingo. And, they're really targeting the everyman type of thing. So I guess like that's the only difficulty is the translation from
being relatable still.
Yeah, still remaining relatability to people who are involved in poker but will never play a high roller.
Yeah.
But is that a bad thing? Because I was thinking more on the opposite side of it. Like, because for us, it's very normal, right? This lifestyle, we travel a lot and we play all these things and whatever. It's normal for us. And for me, it's so normal. So when I meet my friends in my hometown in Norway, this sounds like it's a crazy lifestyle for them,
Yeah.
Right.
But for us, it's so normal. We don't even think about it.
Correct.
I was thinking that this is probably pretty interesting to most like hobby players who only play home games in their hometown or whatever, seeing like what the lifestyle is if you play the big tournament stops and whatever and just fly around the world and play all these things. I would think that's interesting, even though it's unrelatable. Or
I would think
for most
more so
people.
now than ever, just because it seems like the money effect doesn't matter. Like, there are hands on YouTube where the pot could be $500 or it could be $500,000, and that's not why it gets clicks.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It just
You
seems
also
to
have
make
to
no
consider
difference.
there's like way more eyes on vlogs now than there were a few
Yeah.
years ago. There's
So
way
now they're
more,
looking for
there's
something
kids
different.
who have aged up from watching YouTube their whole childhood, who are now older, who are now able to gamble. They're over 21. Like, there's just it's just the landscape is completely different from when you were vlogging. So
How are you going to pull personality out of Espen?
That's gonna be a tough one, honestly.
For what it's worth, he actually is like a very personable human being, but it really does not come off that way. Like,
He's
when he
actually
hit,
funny as fuck.
when he hit Remco with the saunas and smoothie line, I think I was maybe one of 4 people that laughed. Because like I knew it was a joke, where I think to the rest of the viewing audience, they're just like, this fucking guy is definitely going to go right to the gym.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a protein shake afterwards and then hit the sauna.
Well, it's weird because like going back to us just like being gamers, we like a lot of our inside jokes are just like meme and internet culture, right? Like when we talk about going on a date with a girl, it's like, oh, Henry, you're gonna rush B. Oh, lol. Like, it's just like
Never
it's
rush
just
B,
like,
bro. Never rush
it's like, like, are you gonna like throw in smoke? Like, it's just super like childish internet culture.
Yeah. You're
But I
throwing
honestly
smokes.
think like for what we're going to be trying to achieve, speaking to the masses, that's going to actually help us a lot. Like when it comes to content creation, you need to know what trends are in and what trends are out. You need to understand internet culture. And like behind closed doors, like, I don't know, I think we're pretty fucking funny. Like there's probably people that listen to like
For
what
us,
we
it's
talk.
funny.
Yeah. Like there's probably people that listen to us, but I think especially for him now, like personal brand wise and like from a vlogging point of view, and like just traveling around with like me and Philip and just like having these like inside jokes that a lot of people are going to relate to. Sure, there's going to be a large part of the audience who are just like, who are these fucking nerds? Like, why are they rich and we're not? Like, whatever. Like,
I mean,
where
that's
did they
not the
get
thing.
money?
That's not the thing to worry about. But like, Espen, for you specifically, what we shoot the shit here all the time, and we definitely toe that line of, being crass versus being politically correct or whatever. Do you worry having the spotlight now that you're expected to maintain some level of, I don't know, call it professionalism?
I have to be a bit careful actually, because I come from, as he said, like the gaming culture, and like the gaming culture, like the language people use and like the jokes they pull, and like if you grow up on the internet, you're gonna be a sarcastic fuck, and you're gonna use a lot of like crass language, and you say stuff that you shouldn't say. And
100%.
I do this sometimes, and I have to like catch myself, and I have to tone myself down. And especially now, like that there's gonna be, especially if we're gonna be doing like stuff that's live. Are we live here?
We're live.
Is there a kill switch?
Yep.
No kill switch.
It's funny you said
risk.
that, because we actually check each other on this. Like when we were living in Thailand, like there was like a time where there were a couple of things that we were saying, we were like, it's probably best to try and just like remove that from our day-to-day like dialogue, because like even if we're just joking, if that slips in front of the wrong person, you get in trouble. And there was literally, I remember there was like a month where there were like a couple of words that we'd have, and we're like, let's just put this away. Let's just bury this. Every time someone says it, even though we're used to like joking about it, let's just call them out on it, because again, you know, we're vlogging now, we're streaming. If you fall into this habit of like taking these inside jokes or internet culture jokes, and like you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
It's wild, man. Like I was a gamer as well before I started finding poker. I played a lot of COD in high school, like 16, 17, 18.
2v2, let's go, bro.
I used to play. So I used to play for money actually. I used to play like wager matches and stuff, like $5. But anyways, it's so toxic, man. Like you just roast each other. But like, oh man, it's terrible, because like it's very easy to bring that same sort of energy to real life situations. Which now when like your life changes and like you're in front of the screen or like the camera and stuff is live, and like these things have to get kind of trained out in some regards. So if you say the wrong thing, it could be dangerous. Where like if you're talking with friends, it's normal.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in locker rooms my entire life, and all of the horseplay and the memeing on one another and everything else.
Horseplay. That happens in what?
I'm sorry, what?
Wait, what?
The homoerotic horseplay
Yes,
that happens
exactly.
in locker rooms.
Everything's homoerotic and everything is emasculating.
I've seen the
So
videos.
like literally, you know, most jokes are born out of saying things to emasculate your counterpart, right?
Well, also
And-
that was like a huge thing for that you guys' age group of in the 90s
Like
and early
generational.
2000s.
I don't
was
know that
so-
it really changed all that much as a whole in male culture. I think in society as a whole, we've changed a lot.
Yeah.
And there have been these fractions of either side that put a hyper focus on this type of language. But the whole idea of like the boys will be boys type of thing was more excusable in my era for sure.
Yeah.
But it's still just a thing, right? Like my era are now dads, and they're pushing that on to their sons and stuff like that. The whole point I'm trying to get at is
they're saying that stuff to their sons.
no, it's not that they're saying that stuff. It's just that they're excusing it.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's like,
It's like, oh, that's normal. That's classic life stuff. Like
there's
kids are gonna do this and talk to each
there are
other.
definitely a lot of
Well, I
dads
think
that will just say like, "Oh, boys will be boys."
I mean, I
like,
think the main difference is that now, like before, it was more insulated towards the people who surround you, and now kids are on the internet, and it's sort of they find their own, like whatever is acceptable to them.
that's kind of why I brought it up, is because that's where the trouble therein lies, right? So it's like if you want to, you can find a fraction of the internet that will completely back whatever it is.
Yeah, you can find your echo chamber.
Yeah, so whether that means that you want to be a misogynist, or it means that you want to be a hyper-vigilant language policer, or whatever the case may be, you'll find a group to back that.
Yeah.
And the challenge with that is that you're right in the sense that it is an echo chamber. And most people just lean pretty heavily into it rather than trying to find some sort of center ground. So there are a lot of people that believe intent doesn't matter, right? So if you say something, somewhat inflammatory in a joking manner, there's a lot of this world that watches it and will not forgive that, because they don't care that your intention was just to have fun with your friends.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the balance that's so difficult to strike, because a lot of like what this show is, a lot of what you guys are talking about, you wanting to develop is quote unquote peeling back the curtain, right? And just seeing what happens when people are real.
Yeah.
And there was a big tolerance for that whenever I was growing up. Like that's what the real world was born out of.
People stop being polite and start being real.
Right. And it's like if you go back and watch the language on that show, it wasn't okay by today's standards.
Right.
So it's just like it's very difficult to both be off and on at the same time. And I wonder like how much pressure you guys feel from that sort of arena.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, I mean, cancel culture has just been like rife within like the creator industry for quite some time. Like Logan Paul is an example. David Dobrik, like
Anna Marbles.
there's quite a few. Yeah,
Everyone in comedy.
Yeah.
Like in
Yeah.
comedy, this is
But
so
like the
big.
thing
right?
is, it's like I don't know, man. Like I just personally just like shut it down. If I see someone like even attempting to try and like twist something for what it isn't, I just have a zero tolerance for it. Like, I'm sorry, like I'll be the first to apologize if I hurt someone's feelings. Like there was like actually a weird situation at this party, Kopang Yang, like full moon party, and we're like talking to this girl, and like I asked, like, we're drunk, I was like doing this like math equation, and she just like turns around, she was like, did you ask me that to like, what did she say? Like to like make me like come across as stupid? So I was like, no, like that's literally just like, I'm sorry, like that's how I have like fun.
Yeah.
and I apologize because I understood that it hurt her feelings, but like she tried twisting it in the sense that like I was like trying to like, just because she was a woman or like make her come across as stupid. I was like, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, this is how I have fun. Like, I'm sorry that I offended you. I put my hands up straight away, but like,
I thought you were gonna bring up that girl in London who was saying that XRP was going to $5.
oh,
You
bro.
remember this?
It sounds like she was rushing B. Yeah.
Sounds like she's self-recorded.
Yeah.
that was hilarious. You would tell that story?
I
or-
don't want to tell it now.
But yeah, like the thing, I feel like a lot of people now, they're looking for reasons to
Be triggered.
Yeah. And I saw it in her straight away. Like, we were like playful banter. It's a full moon party on an island in
A
Thailand.
full moon party.
It's called a full moon party.
Go on,
like,
why?
Once in a life.
Everybody's
Go
asses
figure.
are hanging out,
Why?
obviously.
Yeah, why?
I see.
No one knows.
Go figure.
No one knows.
Self-explanatory.
And yeah, just like straight away, just like she was just looking for a reason to like come after me. And I was just like, look, I apologize if like that's how you've taken it. I'm telling you my truth. I wasn't trying to do that. It's up to you if you want to be offended or not.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you can't be that ballsy with the internet because once the mob descends, like, it's difficult. Once the
I
government's
spoke
been
about this the
thrown
other
down.
day. I had been talking to my nephew about, you know, he's just struggling at 22 to really find a sense of purpose. And what I was saying is that, like, you have to understand that to the world, there are 3 layers of yourself that exist. And it's the physical layer that they immediately see, the intellectual or mental layer that they hear when you speak, and then finally the emotional layer that, you know, generally only your tight inner circle is really going to know. So assuming that very few people actually get to know you at an emotional level, the reality is they'll never really know your heart. They'll never really know your true intention. Only your closest people to you could ever speak to that. So I was like, you have to be very mindful of what you want to present at the physical level and at the intellectual level. And I was like, for me personally, it was a choice and very intentional to present a bit of a contradiction there. Like, the first thing I want people to see physically, I don't care about my level of attractiveness. I don't care to be a hot boy or seen in some.
Don't worry, you don't have any trouble.
Yo, damn, don't.
Wow, imagine having friends like that, bro.
I know.
How dare you, Tortoise?
Zinger.
How dare you do that to your friend?
Yo, listen, we
Zinger.
can go play a numbers game if you
It
want.
was too easy.
Berkey against Brian, see who gets the most digits. Yeah, let's go.
We could just play the game of who they think is older.
There
It's
you
like
go.
we're the same age. But the whole point I'm trying to get at by saying
I
that.
love you to say that. Like, I'm in the same age, just so you guys know.
Had to say
But
it.
the reason I say that is because, like, vanity is a big deal to a lot of people physically. Like, most people when they think about how they lead physically, it's in a very vain manner of like, well, I want to have the best hair, I want to have the best this, that, or the other, and they think about their physical attributes in that regard. I never thought that way. I've never been mistaken to think that I'm overly attractive, right?
Yeah.
I'm happy to lie in
the best jawline.
right, exactly. Like, you know, I don't think I'm Ken from the Ken and Barbie set, right? It's like, I know my lane. I know my lane. I'm happy to remain in the average. But for me, it was always just I want to portray.
It
Ken. I don't think I'm Ken from the Ken and Barbie set.
You know, we shared a laugh.
Yeah, you two are Zoomers. We get it. Like, you guys always laugh on things no one else finds funny. Like, you guys just disruptively laugh. Like, oh, that thing that wasn't funny is hilarious to me.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I don't get it.
Ken from Ken and Barbie.
I felt like it needed qualified.
Okay.
You know? Maybe they don't know who Ken is in
That's
Norway.
fair.
I don't know. This is an American show.
We know.
But the whole point is, like, for me physically, it was like I wanted to come off as strong, confident, but, you know, cold and not approachable.
Black-hearted.
No, not black-hearted. Like, just not approachable, because I think that was
Safe.
I thought that was like the best way to protect myself from basically people who had bad intentions. Because, like, personally,
100%, yeah.
I am one to trust easily.
Yeah.
So, like, if I know that I'm loose with my trusting, then I want to create some sort of, like, level of
Right.
barrier
That's sharp,
exteriorly.
actually.
You thought this when you were younger? Or, like,
Yeah.
how old were you when you thought like this?
14.
I mean,
13.
I feel like
You're
I unconsciously did that in high school a
Yeah.
lot, because I also am like, when I trust someone, I trust them 100%, and like
I trust people implicitly until they give me a reason
right.
not to.
So but in high school, I was very cold and distant, and people always thought I was like super mean, because just the way I like looked and presented myself. But I really
Yeah.
didn't want to like let anyone close to me.
I think I was the opposite up until a certain age. So probably until my teenage years, I was just an outpouring, vulnerable human being who was like just desperate to make friends. And at some point, I realized like that just gets trampled on.
Yeah.
So
I went the opposite.
In what
way.
regard?
I
Just from,
became
like,
more
other,
open.
Other kids?
well,
being
in the
mean?
regards of basically you create unrealistic expectations because you are
Of
so
other
willing
people.
to be authentically wide open. You're so willing to expose that bottom layer
Yeah.
to anybody who comes in contact with you that you create these unrealistic expectations where you expect that to be exchanged.
Yes.
And that's just not fair. It's like this
Well-
person who doesn't really know you is just an acquaintance. You expect them to like tell you their deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're a prime example for that. Like, you wear your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah.
And like
No, of
like
course,
in
like-
the poker community, you've just always been open in speaking like how you feel.
Yeah.
And then if there's backlash, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to try and learn from
Yeah,
it.
I'm still that way. I'm still that way now.
Yeah, but like when you wear your heart on your sleeve, I think what Berkey's saying, because like it's something that I've experienced by just like approaching the industry and painting everyone with the same brush. When it comes to trust, you're gonna get trampled on.
yeah.
I don't even see
Especially
it
in
as-
this industry.
Yeah,
I don't even see it as like expecting it from other people. It's more of what I expect from myself. Like if I have like an open-hearted conversation, like call it myself to someone else, I don't expect the same in
well,
return.
The issue is that we all are naturally sort of projecting. I mean, humans just do that. So if you know that your intentions are good and you're a good person and you just like this person and they're nice, you will sort of at some level of consciousness expect them to be a similar way,
Right,
or
like, I don't expect
you'll
people to
give them
use
the
it
benefit
against
of the
me
doubt
or
more,
anything.
or
Yeah.
when maybe someone more cynical would just sort of expect the worst unless proven otherwise.
Yeah.
You will give people the benefit of the doubt when maybe that person might not necessarily
Yeah.
deserve it.
No, of course. And it's obviously something that you learn more as you get older.
Yeah, you have
or
to get
through-
burned a few
through
times.
trial and error of realizing that that's not the case
Yeah.
from the vast majority.
Michelle always say that like about me, like, oh, she's like, you trust everybody too much. And like, she's like, just because you're a nice person doesn't mean everybody's a nice
Right.
person, right?
Yeah, but that's
It's
not
like,
necessarily a bad thing.
No,
I don't think.
No, I'm not saying it is. Just-
Right. I don't think that like you necessarily need to create filters to shun the world or anything like that. It's just more so a matter of creating protocols for what happens whenever people don't meet that expectation to some
Yeah.
regard. But the reason I'm bringing this up more so is that as you get on the mic more, as you are in the public stratosphere, as you're more of a forward-facing brand member, either for something bigger or for yourself, it becomes very blurry now because the top layer is sort of removed, right? Now everybody gets to know you at that intellectual level. And the problem is when we're creating content like this, we're blending more of the emotional, intellectual level than we really want to, right? And that's what makes it so comfortable for people to come up to you in public and say like, oh, I love that podcast that you did with so-and-so. It was so remarkable. Like, can I get a picture? Right? And that's okay. That's actually very warm and wonderful, but it goes the other way now too. When you misstep with your words, you don't get shown any grace by the people that want to tear you down. When you kind of speak out of pocket about something, the entire internet is very quick to correct you and tell you you're a piece of shit for it, right? When you make an off-color joke that you thought was kind of towing the line of comedy and being crass, there will be a subsection of the internet there to meet you with pitchforks. And I think that, like, in spite of feeling very confident when I'm telling my nephew that this is the way that you should create your own avatar, I immediately lost confidence in realizing, like, he grew up on the internet his whole life. And though these 3 simple layers worked for me in a physical world, in this like metaphysical universe where the world is so tiny and you may interact with millions, if not tens of millions of people before you die, those lines get very blurred. And so many more protocols need to be put in place in order to actually maintain some version of your authentic self without feeling like you are a piece of shit because somebody on the internet said so.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough sort of line. I guess like kind of dealing with that a little bit myself when it comes to things that I have done in the past and will continue to do in the future and learn things of that nature. Because like we're all sort of trying to fill a void in some regards. Because for me, like when I was younger, like I didn't have friends. So like, I always have like this validating feeling of like I need to feel liked. I need to be appreciated by other people. And the way I do that is like by being myself through these certain type of interactions, especially like personal interactions. Like someone comes up to me and like, oh, hey, like this, that, whatever. Or it comes like people I meet for the first time. Like that's why I'm pretty decent when it comes to people that I know through online type of settings. Like the first time I met you, like when I, like talking to Henry, like I felt like I've known you forever. Because that's just kind of how I am as a person. Like we've had enough conversations at that point where it feels like I'm always trying to feel that validated need of like, I need to be liked in order to have friends, as that's something that I didn't necessarily have when I was younger. But that becomes dangerous.
Right.
Yeah,
The
people
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing it for the clicks.
You've had that quite a bit, right? Like from gaming background to
I can relate to this a lot, yeah.
poker extraordinaire.
I think I probably still have a lot of this. I'm like trying to be nice to everyone, trying to please everyone. I think I have this.
Yeah. I'm a massive people pleaser, and it hasn't been until I've started like commentating for like Triton and like Party, where I think I had this really naive mindset in the industry that, you know, everyone's friendly, no one's going to screw me over, blah, blah, blah. And then like you start realizing that, oh, like you just can't please everyone. Like you can't trust everyone. You know, when we're doing commentary, for example, with like Melissa in Barcelona, and like people that understand the meetings that we've had with our higher ups and what they want us to achieve through like commentary is way different to the polished commentary of Triton.
Sure.
And the fact that me and Melissa are like memeing in the booth and maybe breaking down like 1 in 10 hands, you're gonna hear from the guy that wants us to be talking about at what frequency should Stephen Chidwick or whoever be check raising this turn. It's just like I had this obsessive phase where I just wanted to please absolutely everyone, where I would literally find myself changing the way I commentated during commentary.
Yeah.
Like someone would come in and be like, bro, you haven't spoken about a hand in 10 minutes. And then rather than just like ignoring this one opinion, I would then go to the absolute polar opposite and just like break down to my best abilities.
I have to be that filter for Melissa. We'll start talking about sports and she'll just be like, the chat said they don't like sports right now.
I'm like well, it's because I used to stream too, and then it's like you're really like just there, your audience is everything. So like it's like you're putting on a show for your audience. So I think I place like too much weight on the audience sometimes, because I want to create something that people enjoy and that's like good for everybody, but you're never going to please everyone.
You're never
you can't,
gonna achieve that.
Yeah.
It's impossible to achieve.
It's just not objective feedback.
Yeah.
Almost ever.
Yeah.
And like those two people complaining in the chat, they're not part of your community anyway.
Right, and they're
like,
probably going to complain about other stuff too, like anything maybe.
Yeah.
Even
like
if
you're
you
gonna say something, right? And then they're gonna be like, "Oh, like, I just ran it, and he's actually not supposed to check raise that at all, right?" And it's like you don't know it, and like try to demean your expertise.
Yeah.
Right. People are always gonna try to find reasons and things if they don't like you to hate you even more. Right. So at the end of the day, you can't please everyone. You just kind of have to do what you feel makes sense for you, and then live with those consequences. And
like
learn
you
from
have
them
to sort of create with the people who enjoy what you create in mind. Like those are the people that you're creating for, the people who resonate with you, not the people who don't and are very vocal about it.
Yeah, like when we run the show, like when we do the podcast and stuff, like we run the show because we enjoy the show, and the people that enjoy us and listen to us talk, we can talk about anything and they'll still kind of enjoy that sort of situation.
Right.
And so sure, some people all the time are gonna be like, this sucks, like this is like, it's supposed to be a poker podcast, where's the poker?
Where's
and
the
it's like,
poker?
well,
They
we want to
haven't
talk
talked
about
about
what
poker.
animals we can beat in a fight today,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna
Right.
enjoy it. If you want-
Kangaroo is like, that's my limit.
Kangaroo?
You think you could fight a kangaroo?
I could survive against
You
a kangaroo.
really think so?
Yeah, I'm not saying
how
I'd win,
jacked
but I
they
would
are?
like
Kangaroos
manage
are
to
tough.
get my
They
way
are
out.
jacked.
Yeah.
Like
Yo,
they have.
yeah, but look at
huge
Henry, what do you mean?
Hang on, I'm not jacked.
Have
Yeah.
you seen their legs?
He can take a Joey, I think, for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah.
Listen, I have a question. Have you guys ever had guests walk off the show before?
No, why? Is Espen gonna piss himself?
No, it's just, the Island Boys walked off of Logan Paul's Impulsive.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Why
so
would they?
like, fuck you, Matt Berkey. We want to be the first, storming off the show.
You definitely won't be the first. There's probably 6 or 7 people I have in mind where the conversation could go one of two ways, and it certainly could lead to that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should lean.
that you've had or you're gonna have.
No, that we could have on.
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
I probably would never want to have
we
on.
could make
but-
this Jerry Springer if we wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, like whenever all the cheating stuff broke, everybody was like crying for us to have like Ali and Jake
They wanted
on.
us to have Bunny on. They
Yeah,
wanted, and
and-
we're just like, we don't.
Just like
want
giving a
this
hot
for
mic to
ourselves.
these people is
It's tough,
not
man.
a great idea.
It's tough from like a content creation point of view. Like that it's gonna get the numbers.
Yeah.
So from
But at
like
what
I didn't even
cost?
consider that. Like I just immediately dismissed it because I'm coming from a reasonable standpoint where it's just like, hey, I'm not CNN. I don't owe these people anything.
for sure, yeah,
Like,
that's what I was
They
gonna
fucked
say.
up, and I'm reporting what I know
Yeah.
as to be true.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just my opinion behind
Right. This
what
is
I
an
think is
opinion
true.
pod. We're not like
Yeah.
BBC.
Yeah, it's just like why
Also, fuck those guys.
right, like why have them on to
Bro.
tell their side? I don't care about their side.
But but why don't you? Wouldn't you think it's interesting to hear? Because like it's very hard to like.
It would be interesting to hear. I don't think I'm the person to navigate that interview. I also don't think Poker News is the platform to navigate that interview. But like,
Yo, Bryn, come on the pod, bro. Like, let's do it.
yeah,
face
like,
to face.
like if Henry wanted to do it, I
I've
think that
already
would be
asked him.
great.
Yeah.
If like Remco would probably be a good person to handle an interview like that. I don't think that he would pull punches. Not
I
sure.
disagree. I don't think anyone under the Poker Go or Poker News umbrella
That's fair.
qualifies
Yeah.
for that because like
What if they got banned though? What if
Too
this?
much of a conflict of interest.
Well,
There
what
is.
no, but what
There
if
is.
this council
Integrity
does go
Council?
forward with the ban and Poker Go also agrees like you're banned for X amount of years?
right.
The
Then-
council needs to have a hearing with Jake and Ali and make that into a podcast.
Oh, there you go.
No, that would be.
That-
I
that would
solved
be-
it.
with
Solved.
Judge Judy or
Yeah.
You
something.
ran, you ran some
Yeah.
That's the
sins on that
content
one.
we're after,
Yeah.
like the January 6th commission, except it'd be for the poker.
and a lot more crosstalk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the issue is, I think, is it's only interesting to the people like within poker, and it's not interesting to the people outside of it. Like the whole like Jake, Ali, like if that was streamed, like if it was like the Integrity Council.
I disagree. I
Like, if
think
they made
that
a TV
that's
show called the Integrity Council.
I think that's way more widespread than talking hands.
Yeah, people
think
love
so.
scandals. People love
Exactly.
scandals and
Yes.
drama. And if you frame this as
And
these
boobs.
two poker players
You're right.
cheated the poker world out of
Honestly,
millions
if
or
it was like
whatever,
Confronting the
like,
cheater.
I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
see,
yeah.
I could see it as like a Judge Judy episode
Yeah.
of like the Integrity Council versus Jake and Ali, and you
You
see
got
like
like Jason Kuhn and Galfond on
right.
one
So it's
side.
like, how does poker work? Cheating, and then okay, I'm in. I'm sold. You got me.
All right, so let's wrap on what you guys have coming up in the next couple weeks. You guys are pretty busy before you leave America, right?
yeah.
yeah, we're here for 3-4 more weeks.
Yeah.
Gonna go with you guys to Florida soon.
Yeah.
In a week. Then go over to LA, play some hustler cash games and whatnot. Then back here for a tiny bit.
Yeah, Resorts World Meetup game, which hasn't been, like date-wise, hasn't been confirmed yet, but they've given us the green light. Just want to kind of try and bring back how it used to be in the sense that you'd win the main and I don't know, I feel like the main event champions from like pre-2010, let's say, or 2012 were very much part of like the community.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, you win the main and people would just like think they're untouchable, and we just like we don't ever want that to be the case, at least in our mind. Like, we just want to include as many people as possible. So yeah, having some like meetup games where even if you're a 1-3 grinder, you can just come down, play with the fucking world WSOP main event champ.
They do call it the $10,000 main event world championship.
Yeah, you are a world
World
champion.
champion.
You're the world
The
champ.
world
Yeah, I keep
champion.
calling him champ, but it
He's
just
a
doesn't.
world champ.
Doesn't
Right.
roll off the tongue. Like I don't
doesn't.
feel like it did. I feel like myself. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
yeah,
just like
that's good.
myself.
Yeah, just like I like whatever I call you champ, it's just like I'm just memeing with myself internally. I'm just like this fucking guy. Like,
You know me too
yeah,
much
see
to
him
call
in
me.
in his sliders, sipping on his fucking peanut butter smoothie. Like, shut up, like fucking champion, get out of here, man. Like, no, all jokes aside, yeah, we just really want to like. Poker's for like a game that we love and it's for everyone, right? And we really just want to continue that, you know, inclusivity of just getting as many people involved as possible whilst we're here, especially stateside. Live poker is so much bigger over here than it is in Europe. So maybe sitting down with you guys and like brainstorming some like meetup games that we could do or stuff like that in the future. But for now, I think we're just pretty much going with the flow.
Yeah.
Miami, Florida, same thing. I always forget. LA, which I'm not looking forward to because LA traffic.
It's
bro, like,
it's a hassle of a city to go to, but the games are great.
yeah.
You'll enjoy it. Also, it's you'll enjoy it. Like take an extra day or two to kind of explore a little.
Yeah.
I don't think we
The
have an
thing,
extra
like,
day or two, do we? We have
I
like
think
a
we do
packed
actually.
schedule now.
We actually do. Yeah. After now with the new schedule, we can actually stay in LA for a couple of days and
Okay.
then come back to Vegas. The other thing, like, I'm not looking forward to LA, and this just might be me being completely oblivious to the scene, but every like close friend of mine from like my American reg friends, they all despise LA poker in terms of like angling and just like the way people.
Those are the open games, though. You're not going to be playing those.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing stream games, so like it's a
Yeah.
curated lineup.
Yeah.
You don't really run into it too much.
fair.
I need
yeah.
to research this lineup though. I need to. Who is playing in this big game that I'm playing? Do we have any names for that?
Well, you and Garrett are confirmed.
That's going to be like 100, 200, 400 game. I heard.
100, 200, 400.
It's fine. If Garrett's in, the lineup will be good. He makes
Yeah.
sure of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
You're
line
not-
them up.
He's very
gonna
selective in lineups.
I don't know like how selective he is, but like just based off of having
They
watched the
feed him
lineups he
well.
plays, they're
They
very
feed
good.
him well.
Yeah.
They're very good games.
Okay, that sounds good.
I don't know how much input he has, but like they definitely bear in mind when he plays that the game will be good.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun though. I've never played that high before. I think the
Yeah.
highest I've played online is 50-100. I've
That's
never
close.
played live for any reasonable stakes.
It's a very, very different game.
It's a
Very
different game,
different.
like mechanically, but it's very fun.
Yeah, he's gonna fold fucking kings on a queen 7-4-4 board. Just
Nah,
because,
that's not in
like-
this game. You can be biased.
That's
Good.
not going to happen.
You can be
He's going to
biased.
fold like queen 10 to an open, and we're just going to flame the shit out of him. But,
It's
like,
the pre-flop that's
aside-
different.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, there are some enjoyable aspects of LA. I personally don't love going there, but it's because I really enjoy driving, and it's a
Yeah.
tough city to navigate. But if you get the chance, I would say, like, do a sunrise hike to the Hollywood sign. That's
Sick.
a nice view.
Yeah.
Check out Malibu if you get the chance.
Yeah.
Really great up there.
Sunrise hike.
PCH,
Sunrise
all that
hike,
good
yeah,
stuff.
wow.
I mean, PCH is a hike. You could travel the entire PCH highway if you want. It takes you all-
I love the PCH. Just cruising out.
It's
nice.
I think it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive all the way up to San Francisco.
It's your first time in Cali.
No, I've been there before.
Oh, fair. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, there's good and bad.
There's some good tournaments
It's a
too.
good
if you stick
trade-off.
around long enough.
That's true.
Nah, we got MPP, which is like Rob Young's newly branded Millions. It's the Mediterranean poker party. We're going to that, and then Triton in September. Then after that, like, yeah, we have zero clue, to be honest with you. There's like tax implications and shit. So
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
You
Probably
can
move
see.
back to London.
Yeah.
But there
Take-
is.
Well, we'll be in the UK in December.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
the UK Millions or whatever
Yeah.
it's called in December, right? And
Yeah.
then there's WSOP
Oh,
Europe.
brutal! You're gonna miss the win.
No, it ends before that.
yeah. And that's
Before the
bold.
win?
Like, it's you
Yep.
like just like being presumptuous that you got an invite to UK Millions, but there you go.
I got an invite at the same time as you.
Fair.
Mister.
All right. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. You want to fight?
Wow, the
All right,
infighting
live
begins.
Odds. Live odds.
All right, I appreciate you guys. I'm actually the one who has to pee now, so
Yeah, this has
There you
been
go.
yeah, it's been fun chatting.
we got to put an end to this.
2 hours.
Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to Florida. Would love to do this again sometime. Maybe individually and both of you. Who knows? Anyway, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Appreciate you guys stopping by as always. Espen, best of luck finding a personality.
I'm gonna hire someone, coach,
Yeah.
personality coach or something.
Yeah, they do say money can't buy a personality.
I know,
That's
it's-
true.
God
It's so-
fucking damn it.
That's true.
No, it's happiness.
That was the
You can buy
plan.
a personality,
Oh,
you can't buy
yeah.
happiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's very happy. This man's sauna's like, he murked me in the sauna. We were in there for like
Wow.
20 minutes and I was just like mid sentence. I go, I have to get out. And he's just like, okay. And I got out and I got back in. And again, like 15 minutes later, I was like, I got to get out. And he's like, okay. And I'm just like,
Wait,
Jesus.
you went in a sauna with him?
I had one at my house. Yeah. I had him come
Dude,
over.
he's from Norway, bro.
That's what he said when I got up the second time. It was like
Honestly,
45
that's
minutes.
like racing Usain Bolt, and he does like 3 laps per your one, and be
No,
like, "Oh
no,
wow,
no,
this
no,
guy's
no.
wrecking me." Like,
Norway, like only rich people have saunas in Norway. In Finland, everyone does. Estonia, a bunch of people does. Norway, not really. Only rich people.
yeah, but you're Scandinavian.
that
True,
blood.
we have
Yeah.
those genes. I
Yeah.
guess like it's all
Yes.
like a bit like.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like literally on death's door, like
Yeah.
ready to pass out,
That's
a little
how I am
lightheaded.
in
And he
hot
goes,
stuff.
this only goes to 160? One bead of sweat drips
Yeah.
down his forehead. I'm just like, fuck you,
He's
man.
cold.
Do you ever get cold?
Huh?
Do you ever get cold?
Yeah. I
Really?
hate the cold.
Really?
yeah. Did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
not watch our ice bath vlog, bro? The fuck?
How could you
Not to
not?
be our friend, yeah.
I'm late,
Don't
bro.
even watch our
That's-
content.
I don't get cold very
That's my
easily.
next purchase, by the way.
ice bath.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a.
I'll use that.
You can get
like-
one for 6K where it recirculates the water. You never have
Yeah.
to change it or anything.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it
You're
like
rich, you should do it.
a dunk tank type thing?
it's a tub.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's actually like an insert for your current bathtub or if it's its own standalone, but I don't care.
Some people have those plunges like in like outside, and it'll just be like a square, and they just.
Yeah, the problem is you have to get ice every day.
Yeah.
Square.
This just has
You do?
its own. Yeah, yeah.
It's not just cold.
No,
Why not?
because
You
to
make it,
get
that'd be a good
to
business.
get like a refrigeration
Yeah.
circulation
Yeah, why
thing
not?
is expensive.
Okay.
You know, they're not just gonna
To each his own.
they're not just gonna get a barrel and
Oh,
like
yeah.
throw this big refrigeration unit on it.
I
You
thought
know
that's
what
what they
ice
did.
baths are good for, right? Muscles and shit, bro. Muscles and shit.
You guys can't see, but he was saying that in a very judging manner.
No, we were no. It's an inside joke. We went to this like ice bath in Thailand, and I'd done so much research, right, on why ice baths are good. And we're vlogging the experience, and Espen turns around to me. He's like, "Oh, you've been like reading about it, right? Like, what's good?" And I just couldn't articulate
You blanked.
anything. And I just turned around and was like, "Yeah, bro, it's just really good for muscles and shit." And then they just memed it, like they edited it down to just me being like, yeah, just like muscles. and
Henry,
shit.
you knew your audience, man. You were talking to a gym bro.
There
You
we
were just
go.
like, well,
Yeah, and then he
I was like, okay,
straight
I'm
in.
sold. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
That was like
Yeah.
probably the best thing you could have said.
Yeah.
yeah.
The best thing you could have said in
probably.
one sentence. Like, describe ice
Yeah.
baths to me. Muscles and shit.
Like
And
his
then, like,
brain
he-
at that point actually sprouted arms and started flexing them. It's like, I'm in.
He then gets in the ice bath, and I'm like, bro, you've got this. And he's just like, what's the best time you can go for? I said, best time is you want to be aiming for around 7 minutes, yeah? He's like, how long are you going to go for? I was like, don't worry about me, bro. Just focus on what you can do. It's your first time doing it. Just try and go 7. He's like, no, how long are you going to go for? I'm like, bro, don't worry about me, yeah? This is about you. Just do your
This
best.
is about you.
He's like, Henry, how long are you fucking going for? I'm like, I'm going to be going for about 8.5 minutes. 8 minutes rolls around of him being in there. He's like, I'm not fucking getting out of this until like I know for a fact that I'm going to be going longer than you. I was like, you fucking egotistical prick. Like, just fucking get out.
This is
man.
a true story.
Yeah.
I channeled my inner Fedor Holtz, and I was just
Yeah.
like,
It's funny.
It is one of those things in an ice bath where if you last 30 seconds, you can last 3 minutes pretty easily.
Yeah.
That's what they
There's
say.
a tipping point where
There
like,
is definitely, yeah.
yeah,
there's like a shock mode. Your body goes into like panic mode and wants to get out like as soon as possible
Yeah.
in the beginning, and then like after a while, you're like, okay.
yeah, and then there's another ledge that you fall down where you're threatening hypothermia and
Yeah, for sure.
it
Yeah,
becomes
there's
a
just
bigger
no
issue.
0 point going past like 10 minutes. There's just no need.
All right, well, let's get out of here and take an ice bath.
All right, let's do it.
I'm in.
Let's go.
Thank you guys so much for joining. As always, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you guys want to follow Espen and Henry more closely, check out the Overbet Express. I think it's at Henry Kilbane on Twitter.
Yeah, you'll find if you type in Espen or
Espen,
Henry.
I'm not gonna butcher yours. Go ahead. It's at
Ulen Poker, UHLEN.
yeah, exactly.
Everywhere. Not
Ulen.
OnlyFans, that's separate. We'll
Oh,
link
yeah,
it.
we're
Not
working
yet.
on that. Yeah. We'll think about it.
It's tough for me to search. I just put at you and then look for Espen.
You scroll down.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow around 12:15 as usual with the usual crew. Thank you guys for watching.
Usual suspects.
We'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.